Hey, gals and guys, this is Michael Ferrari of Cinema to Meep. Welcome to the 70th episode of the Retro Movie Love podcast. Joining me today on this adventure, and this is quite an adventure, Jon Donahue. Hey, Jon.
70, 70.
70. And I think we have like 40 in the can as well for Patreon. So I've been doing this over 100 times.
That is crazy. Wow. Well, happy 70th.
Thank you. Thank you for
It's kind
joining
of
me in this.
well, I'm happy you're having me join you again. I just want to say 70 every morning now I put on a movie on this on the TV on this TV, and while I make coffee, feed the dog, do my morning stuff, and I put on an '80s movie that I can listen to while I'm doing work around the place.
Right.
And this morning I put on a favorite, On Golden Pond,
Nice.
with Henry Fonda and Katharine Hepburn. And this ties into your 70th because as the movie is playing, he looks super fucking old because he was, and he's playing an old man towards the end of his life. And he's only in he's going to be turning what? I can't remember. It's like 73, 70, something like that. I'm like, boy, in 20 plus more years, I'll be Henry Fonda's age in his 70s. And you just said it was the 70th, and I'm like, man, time flies. Hug your dog. That's all I want to say.
It really does. It really does. And and just like thinking about these movies that we're going to talk about, and just remember seeing them in the theater like yesterday. It really feels like that. And I know that you have that feeling too. Just like we experienced, the canon we're talking about today really had its stride in the 80s. And this is the time when we were going to the theater all the time.
Yeah.
And so we ended up seeing a lot of these movies in the theater or on video. And it really feels like the memories are so clear still, strangely. I don't want to start it too down.
No. I do want to point out that we are not in our 70s. I'm not close to 70. I still have 20 plus years before I hit Henry Fonda's age. And I wouldn't have it any other way if I had a choice of being younger now or having lived through the 80s and gone to see canon movies in the theater every weekend. I would choose to be younger now. I'm kidding. I would choose to go to Canon Films and see movies in the 80s, experience them, because I'll tell you now, the kids, the teens, what are they? I don't know what they are. They're not Gen Xers. What are they? Are they?
Generation Z, I guess.
Whatever. They're Zs. They are. I feel bad. They're missing out, man, because that was the time period. Movies were magic. Movies were awesome.
Movies were all kinds of things. They weren't just one thing like a lot of them are now. At least in the mainstream level, you can go see any kind of movie on a particular day. It wasn't just like, okay, a superhero movie or like a big budgeted action movie. You could see like a really low budget action movie. You could see a comedy. You could see a movie like On Golden Pond. You could see
you could see dramas, shit you watch on TV now, which isn't shit, by the way.
Right.
I was just talking about this. In fact, I talk about it a lot. I sound like old man, get off my lawn type guy. But you can't see movies in theaters anymore the way you used to. You used to be able to go, and there used to be something pretty much for everybody. Your Chuck Norris fans, your Henry Fonda fans, your action, your comedies, your dramas. Now it's what does the Joker look like this time? Who is Batman going to fight this time? It's literally that's all it is now. And it is superhero driven. And that's where cinema is. And I sound like an old cranky dude, but look in the news. Do people even look in the newspaper?
Oh, they don't. No, you don't have to anymore.
No.
And I was
you don't have to. It's an X-Men movie. Go see it.
I was at the theater the other day, and literally it was a multiplex, and literally almost all the theaters were Batman.
Yeah.
It was just so depressing. I'm like, oh my God.
It's ridiculous. It's gotten to the point where I used to go to the movies every weekend. I worked in a movie theater, for Christ's sakes. I used to be there every day. But now I hardly ever go. and it's sad, and I miss it. But I guess I miss old times. I miss the way movies are different, theaters are different, everything is different now, and
It's true.
I guess that's just changed. But is it a change for the better?
We shall see. We shall see. I mean,
Yes. Sorry. Let's be happy now,
let's be
and
happy. Let's
let's go
talk
back in
about,
time.
let's
Yes.
take a little time travel before we get into canon as we know it, as you guys love it. I know you do. We'll talk about what we watched recently. I have a list here. Is there anything off the top of your head that you've been watching lately? I know you're currently working. You're on set and
I'm working on a film.
on a
Yes,
film,
but
and
yeah. But I'll tell you, I I did go see Batman.
mhm.
I don't like to disparage other people's work, but I'll be honest with you. I can't sugarcoat this. It wasn't for me. I'm a
Right.
Batman fan too. That's why I went.
You don't have to sugarcoat on this podcast.
Yeah, I know, but what if I want to work with the director someday or something? But for
You never
Christ's
know.
sakes, if it's as bad as Batman. Anyway, as you can tell, I wasn't a fan. It's not that I'm cranky and I hate superhero movies. If I expected to hate it, I wouldn't have gone. I actually was excited to see it, but 3 hours, and I'm wondering, I could have been sleeping. I didn't like it. It wasn't for me.
And it's like really dark, right? Like
I couldn't even see it.
The lighting was really
Yeah, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing that I couldn't see it. It sounded okay.
Mhm.
It's just too dark and too. I don't know. I'll stick with my Adam West, Burt Ward. I'll stick with my Michael Keaton.
Mhm.
It just wasn't for me. Unfortunately, I can't believe a Batman movie wasn't for me. This one wasn't the one.
Mhm.
Um,
It's okay. There'll be another one in 2 years or less.
what do you mean? 2 weeks?
2
It'll be
weeks.
1 and 2. We got 2 weeks. He's fighting Catwoman's roommate. So anyway, Michael, what about you?
Okay, so I went to, like I said, I went to the theater the other day. I went to see the new Ty West horror movie X,
Okay, I hear that's good. What'd you think?
and it was actually really good. I was kind of a nice surprise. Did hear some very positive things from people on my pals on Instagram. They were posting, "Oh, go see X. It's worth the trip." And so, okay, I'll go see X. Kind of do want to support new horror when I can, especially new indie horror. And this is an A24 film, so it definitely is that. And it was a real fun ride. This one, it's about a film crew in 1979. He goes to make a porn on a farm in Texas, and of course, everything goes completely south from there.
You had me at porn. So yeah,
It's a movie that's it's very bold. There's a lot of gore. There's a lot of sex. There's a lot of violence. If you're into those kinds of movies, and like movies that Cannon would have made in the '80s, it does fill a need for that. And I was really happy to see that back on the screen in a multiplex. And I had a lot of fun. I think the actors were good. Brittany Snow, who was I think a highlight in the movie. I think she was really fun, and she was clearly having a lot of fun while making the movie. And I just thought it was really, yeah, definitely worth going to see in a theater and supporting a smaller company like A24, because they're doing some really good work. And it's not just an art house movie. There's definitely some of that in it, but it's really it feels like a grindhouse movie filtered through an art house outlet, which is a pretty cool combination.
Wow. I really feel like an asshole, like this cranky fucker. I want to like something. I watched. I'm trying to think what I watched that I liked recently. I can't think. I'm just so busy working on this film. My mind is shot, and I need another coffee because it is early. We're actually recording in the morning right now for the first time.
It's been the first time. You may hear some birds in the background. Spring has sprung, so it's going to be interesting. I did catch up finally with Licorice Pizza, the movie that has many accolades and
what'd you think?
Multiple Academy Award nominations, and everyone I know, as I said, they loved it. I'm going to be honest. I was very so-so on it. It does try to capture time, and it's really shot really beautifully, and there's great music and all of that. But I don't know. I felt like a collection of scenes rather than a movie that I really wanted to watch. There were some good scenes in it. But I just, at the end of the day, I was not connected to it. So it didn't quite work for me. And I know that's, PTA Anderson, Paul Thomas Anderson fans are, very protective. They love his films, and I get it. But this one didn't work for me. So I'm just going to be straight up honest about that. But there were definitely a couple of scenes in it that I liked. I thought the Bradley Cooper, John Peters scene was pretty entertaining. It woke the movie up. But 2 hours, 20 minutes, tries to be a slice of life movie about a young guy in LA in the 70s. Felt too long, felt like a lot of scenes instead of a cohesive whole. And I wanted to like it, but a movie that I revisited that I hadn't seen in a long time, since the movie theater in 1986, was Blake Edwards' A Fine Mess. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, of course. I haven't seen it, but in a long time.
Yeah, it was literally, it's been 36 years. And, I had fun watching it. It's pretty zany, like a lot of Blake Edwards movies are. And
yeah,
it's, it tries to, I guess, create a new comedy team with Ted Danson and Howie Mandel. And, that, of course, never happened. And the movie didn't do very well. But I had a lot of fun watching them on the screen and all the zany antics. And I think that's, it gave me what I wanted from a silly 80s comedy. And
you and I should make a movie in the tone of an 80s film, call it Zany Antics. What do you think?
That would be fun.
It.
I'd watch it too.
Now, you mentioned Blake Edwards. That did bring me up about a month ago. This played at the theater when I worked there. And I wasn't really my thing at the time. I always liked John Ritter. I watched Blake Edwards' Skin Deep.
Mm-hmm.
And that is and I watched it recently because it just came out on Blu-ray a few months back.
That's right.
It's actually it's a lot of fun. It is. It's CinemaScope. It's 235. So it's like this widescreen, which I never understood why it was 235. Anyway, it's John Ritter, so good in it, and it's raunchy. It's fun. Mm-hmm. It's drama. It's a really, really well done movie. So if you get a chance, check out Skin Deep with John Ritter. It's on Blu-ray. It's a really good film with a lot of layers, and I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of silly things too, but it's fun.
Yeah, they don't make good sex comedies anymore, and I think that was one of the ones, definitely from the late 80s, that I really had a lot of fun with when I saw it in the theater. I remember seeing it at a midnight screening, and it was like the perfect time to see that movie, and it really worked for me. And I did pick up that Blu-ray and I revisited it. And I'm like, yeah, this movie still works all these years later. There may be some things like modern audiences might not like that because he is like a womanizer and he's kind of easily forgiven by the end. But I think if you watch the film, like from beginning to end, you really see that he's put through like an emotional ringer. And he's an alcoholic too. So there's that element too that, he's maybe too forgiven. But I think John Ritter really pulls this role off, and he's really funny in it. And also there's some really sensitive and deep layers to that character. And I think that was a nice touch by Blake Edwards, because not making a one-dimensional kind of sex comedy. There was definitely more going on in it, which I liked. And
100%, absolutely,
including zany antics.
Who doesn't love zany antics? I agree with you.
I'm just gonna go a quick list. My thumbs up, thumbs down. Kids movies, family movies. Turning Red, thumbs down. That was not a good one. Adam Project, same thing. Just a lot of special effects, and it tries to go for some heart, but I don't know. It gets bogged down in the effects. What else? King of the Underdogs, a documentary about John G. Avildsen. I watched that. I think it's on It's on Tubi, and it was pretty good.
Wow!
Recommend that.
Or not to be.
Exactly.
Sorry. Okay.
I think it's the only way I could find it. So that's I don't normally recommend a streaming service, but that's the only way I could find it. Better Things season 5 is out. I've been watching that. I love that show. It's the final season. I watched a documentary on Anthony Bourdain, Roadrunner. That was really good. I revisited Made in America, another Ted Danson movie from 1993 with Whoopi Goldberg.
With the whoop.
Yeah, silly comedy, but also heart. And it shows you that they used to make movies like that had multi layers to them. And my wife actually watched it too, and she was really into it as well. So I think it was one of those movies like, oh, this is surprisingly good. And that's a movie that didn't do very well when it came out. It kind of got ignored, but I think it's actually a gem. Too Scared to Scream was an mid 80s kind of thriller slash horror movie with Anne Archer and a few other people. It's kind of like a New York almost slasher in a way. I liked it. It's a kind of a quirky little 80s horror movie that kind of time is forgotten. I enjoyed it. Best of the Best. I revisited that. I hadn't seen that since the 90s with Eric Roberts and Sally Kirkland. And that was a lot of fun to revisit, actually. I enjoyed that. Family movie night, we did Big, which
Never heard of it.
Hadn't seen in a while. And that went over really well for both my son and my daughter. So it's always good to have a good family movie night. And then other than that, I've been watching a lot of 92 movies for the podcast. And then coming up to tie into this podcast, we're doing Chuck Norris movies on the Patreon. So
yeah,
watched a lot of those. So stay tuned for that. You have to sign up to our Patreon to find out more about Chuck. I watched all of them, and it was fun.
Yeah, I love Chuck.
And we're gonna get into a couple of Chucks today. So let's get into it now.
Since we're going into Canon Films, can you play the Canon Film music as we go into this?
Oh yeah, let's do that. Good idea. Music to our ears.
Love it.
Doesn't that bring back all the feels? Like it really like that. Love it.
I love the old movie logos. Yes, and just hearing that just gets you excited for whatever crap you're about to see and make the crap so much more better.
It does. So Canon as we know it had existed, I guess, since the late 60s, early 70s. It was almost like an exploitation outlet then. But we want to focus on the Menahem Golan and Globus era, which really made Canon what we know it as now. They really made Canon, and that, of course, I would say around 1979 is when they acquired Canon and made it their own thing. And they had produced some films already through Canon, but when they took over the studio, gosh, we really got some beauties.
Yeah.
And we're going to get right into those beauties right now. Here is a team spot for your number 10.
A battle fought in the stars now comes to Earth.
Police! Nobody move! I think I'm gonna need some backup.
A battle for the power.
Before your master!
To be masters of the universe. Dolph Lundgren is He-Man. Frank Langella is Skeletor.
Let this be our final battle!
Masters of the universe. Rated PG.
Now playing at a theater near you.
Masters of the Universe. Now, I've always loved He-Man, Skeletor, all the characters. I used to watch the Filmation cartoon. You ever watch that?
Mm-hmm.
I just, that's what you thought you were going to see. You saw this thing where it kind of started in Eternia and then they went to Earth for the whole film.
Mm-hmm.
You don't go to Earth, folks, until part 2 or part 4. Everybody knows that. You want to spend a little time in another world. But from what I understand, Canon was saving some money and said, let's have this take place on the planet Earth because, you know, that's magical. The movie's not good at all. It's not. But I think Dolph Lundgren was pretty good as He-Man. I enjoyed Frank Langella as Skeletor. The man, I never understood how he could be made of bones, yet his face would move like a mask. Anyway, but it was cool. Some of the set pieces were fun. It's cheesy to watch it now. You need to be really drunk or really high or both. But the music is better than the film, and even better than that is artist Drew Struzan's poster for He-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Which drew people into the theater, no pun intended. And But He-Man had me. The art had me of the poster, the music, the trailers, and I saw it, and it was just tedious. And even as a kid, I was, waiting for this thing to end. But I can watch it now, put it on in the background and just listen to it. It's better. Again, I don't know where I am right now with this film. Maybe I do need more coffee, but I think it's not a good film. But I think just because it's canon and there's some memories involved where the excitement of it. It was no Ninja Turtles movie. Let's just say Ninja Turtles delivered on all, on all thrusters. This did not, but I enjoyed it. I don't know what I give this. I don't know if I like it or not. Just listening to myself convince myself that I like it. I don't know if I like it or not now. What do you think?
Well, this is the perfect one to start with to represent canon, because canon, like you mentioned, at this time they were kind of hemorrhaging money, and so they were kind of skimping out on budgets and stuff. So this definitely represents that side of canon, but also the side of canon that they were all about marketing. They were all about selling a movie, regardless of the quality of the movie.
That's where the money went.
Yeah, all the money went to the ad campaign, went into elements of the movie, and to get audiences, to get people into the seats. And for the most part, it worked, because it did make some money for them, and it wasn't one of their ones that bled them out. So that works. Does the movie completely work? No, but it is entertaining though. Like, we watched it last year for like a family movie night. I'm like, okay, I know this movie's not going to hold up, but I'm going to try it out with the kids. And they had fun with it. They had no real concept of He-Man and Masters of the Universe before. Not like us kids in the '80s who grew up with that stuff. They hadn't watched any of the shows, and I think there's a couple of new ones now, or there's at least a new incarnation of Masters of the Universe. But so they didn't really have any concept of it. So they were really going by on this cheesy, whatever this cheesy '80s thing is. And they had, it was actually fun for what it was. There's a lot of, there are a lot of set pieces. Like you said, the music is what really pumps up things. Bill Conti, I think, did the score, right? Speaking of John G. Avildsen, and it works. And, Dolph Lundgren is a good, if you're going to have He-Man in that form in the '80s, why not Dolph Lundgren? And I think he does a good enough job with it, and bringing a cartoon character to the screen. And you do have Frank Langella, who's, is covered in all that mask and whatever. But, he does command the screen when he's on. And I do like him in that as Skeletor. And you have, even better, Meg Foster as Evil Lynn. You have Courtney Cox in the movie as one of the heroes, and it's fun. It's not a good movie.
I haven't seen it in a few years.
Yeah,
I just really like
it's
He-Man.
fun. Just don't go in thinking it's going to be anything more than a kind of a shoddy kind of movie, because that's what it is. But it works for that level if you just have not too much expectation. And I enjoyed it for what it was. And
I'll have to revisit it.
Definitely feels like, that time period. Like you really feel like it's like 1987, which is nice.
Wow. Yeah. Well, you explained it a lot, but I was all over the place. I see this is all improv. We don't plan what we're going to say.
No, we don't.
So I had no idea.
Much like canon with their movies, they don't know what's actually it's going to end up being. It ends up being what it is.
Yeah, I'm still collecting my thoughts for the day. I don't know. Anyway, Michael, what's your number 10?
My number 10. Here's the TV spot.
For kids with nowhere else to go, the streets are the last stop. One cop is determined to make a difference.
I'm going to put you out of business. What are you, completely crazy?
The worst kind of crime needs the hardest kind of cop. Charles Bronson.
That's justice.
Kinjite, Forbidden Subjects, rated R.
Starts Friday at a theater near you.
Okay, I had to go Charlie Bronson with my number 10. This was a movie that I maybe watched only once. I think maybe it was in the theater, and then I hadn't seen for a long time. I saw it at the Lowe's Oriental Theater, I remember, and maybe thinking, wow, this movie's kind of, it was just kind of felt wrong, very wrong. Kijite Forbidden Subjects is wow. Watching it now as an adult, like what were they thinking while making this movie? It is quite out there. It's a J. Lee Thompson film. This is J. Lee Thompson's last film. And what a swan song. It's super duper sleazy. It's got Charlie Bronson as basically a xenophobic cop, and who has to it starts all right. Okay, this movie starts off with Charles Bronson kind of stopping some sort of like underage prostitution ring going on, and he stops it by taking the guy who's about to rape a young girl by actually taking a dildo and
wow, you said dildo so fast as if you
impl-
were trying to hide it.
and it implies that he's going to rape him with the dildo. That's how the
Wow.
movie kind of starts. Okay, and then it gets crazier from there.
Wow.
This movie is absolutely bonkers. When I watched it, I guess had been a long time. It was a couple years ago for the first time since 1989. I was like, "What is happening? How did this movie get greenlit?" And then I realized, oh yes, canon. all they cared about was having Charles Bronson in the movie and headlining the movie. That's how they sold the movie. That's how they sold a lot of their movies. Okay, we got a star, Charles Bronson. Immediately means okay, they're going to sell it. You know, they were masters of selling their movies, not just in the U.S. but also overseas. That's how they made a lot of their money, by selling them and then in foreign markets, right? So Charles Bronson, he's one of the stars that translated overseas, and so okay, Charles Bronson's in the movie, so people went to go see the movie. I don't know if audiences were expecting this.
No,
having this going on. You know, there was definitely that fear in the late 80s of Japanese culture kind of taking over the United States. It was a very real thing, and it reflected in a lot of movies. You can see it in a movie like Die Hard, right? For example, corporations, Japanese taking over corporations in the United States, and we kind of have to like, you know, yeah. And they did. It took over a film studio. But
He-Man can't save everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So this movie kind of plays on those fears of the time, and Charles Bronson's character. This is just his character. This is not Charles Bronson. Does not reflect who he was. He was one of those people who was not having it, and so he's kind of comes off as, you know, it's kind of a pill to swallow. You have to go like, okay, this was the time period. This is Charles Bronson at the time period, his character, not anything else. But it's taking it now. It's like it is a tough movie to watch, but it was actually really entertaining too. Like where it was going, it's super sleazy. You will need a shower after watching this movie. I did literally take a shower after watching this movie, because you do feel icky. And I had to include it because it definitely represented that side of canon, was that they were really letting filmmakers do whatever they want. And I had a feeling J. Lee Thompson made this movie because this is the movie he wanted to make. And I think recently Mr. Quentin Tarantino talked about this movie and how he felt that was quite the case, that there was definitely a sleazy side to Mr. Thompson, and it definitely reflects in the movies that he made in the 80s. And we'll talk about another one later, and you'll definitely see it there too. But entertaining, but also sleazy, and you'll need a shower. That's my review.
What year was this?
89, February 3rd, 1989, which was quite a time.
I've never seen it. I've heard of it. I've just never seen it.
You had a lot of interesting movies to watch at the time. I'm going to read off a list of what was playing when Kijite was playing. Three Fugitives, Twins, Mississippi Burning, Dangerous Liaisons, The Naked Gun, I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, Who's Harry Crumb, The Accidental Tourist, Working Girl, Torch Song Trilogy, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, Tequila Sunrise, Deep Star 6, Physical Evidence, Her Alibi, Parents, The Fly 2, Wings of Desire, Salome's Last Dance, Salam Bombay, Baghdad Cafe, Cousins, Talk Radio, The Chocolate War, Woman on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown, and Cameron's Closet. You had quite a variety of movies to see. And if you wanted to see sleaze, you could see Kinjite Forbidden Subjects. It didn't do that great. It made $3.4 million at the US box office on a $5 million budget. I'm sure it made its money overseas and on home video. And, Canon was pretty good at getting their movies out there in the video stores. I feel like you could go see a lot of their movies on the shelves. And certainly Charles Bronson's movies were definitely representing. So I'm sure it made their money back eventually. But
yeah, the poster sucks. I'm looking at it.
It wasn't it wasn't as great, but it's a hard movie to market, man. It's really
this poster I'm looking at has a topless Asian girl laying on a bed face down, wearing just panties, and she's holding a pillow, and Charles Bronson is standing over her loading a gun.
That's basically the movie. Oh.
Yeah, the DVD cover was two women behind Chuck, and he's holding up a gun, and he's looking like, where's my money? You haven't paid me yet. So I don't know. This might be something I need to see. Desire, Temptation, Revenge.
Yep,
that's
all those things. It definitely reflects Cannon's aesthetic, but also definitely what was going on in the culture too, in a way. And but taken to the, I don't know to what degree, but way too far.
It is nutty. Now I got to see this.
It's a very LA movie too, so it's fun to see LA at the time.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into our number 9s. Here's yours.
This is a hijack and south! When there is no hope, no chance, no possibility of escape, Delta Force gets the word.
It's a go. Take them down.
They're not after adventure or glory. They're fighting to save American lives.
No! You take one of us, you gotta take us all.
Chuck Norris, Lee Marvin. The Delta Force, rated R. Starts Friday, February 14th at theaters everywhere.
All right. Yes, Delta Force. Now, one of the main things I really love about this movie, like Masters of the Universe, the score, the soundtrack is so good. A friend of mine called me up one day a couple of years ago, and she said, I'm at the record store. I'm at a record store here. I have a vinyl mint condition of Delta Force. I'm like, get it. I don't care. I'll pay you back. And I love it. It is such a crazy, awesome 80s score. So big and giant. It's just, I love it. Of course, you got Chuck Norris, man. And you've got some major character actors in the film, too, in a Cannon film. And Lee Marvin. And I'm a huge Chuck Norris fan. So that was, and I do, but I don't know how huge I am, though, because I've never seen one episode of Walker, Texas Ranger.
Me either.
I know, but I love 80s Chuck Norris.
Mm-hmm.
I love 80s Chuck Norris. But the Delta Force was, it's just a fun movie. Well, it's not fun. Let's take that back. It is a movie about a plane that's being hijacked. And I'm looking, hold on one second. I'm just looking to see who, there's a big cast in this thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I love that about it. Oh gosh, here it is. Everybody go to IMDb with me. Hold on. The poster's great too, by the way. It has a great poster. Oh, here we go. Martin Balsam, Robert Forster, George Kennedy, Susan Strasberg, Robert Vaughn. My God. Lee Marvin, Joey Bishop, Lainey Kazan, Shelley Winters, Kim Delaney. I mean, this is a huge fucking cast, directed by Mr. Cannon himself. Menahem Golan did this one, and it's crazy. It's I don't know. I'm not good with plot synopsises, but I enjoyed the film. It's a Cannon classic to me.
Yeah, when I think of the Delta Force, I always think of the score.
Yeah,
it's big. It's bold, it's in your face, and that's what makes it entertaining, I guess. It really adds to the scenes. We watched it recently because I watched all these Chuck Norris movies, and I definitely had fun while watching it. And it was interesting seeing all these Chuck Norris movies and then seeing the Delta Force, because this is like one of the first times when Chuck was like doing a movie where he's part of a team, really.
Yeah, it's an ensemble.
Yeah, it cuts between different storylines. It's like Chuck and the team, but also the hijacker played by
You're
Robert.
Good at plot. You're good at plot synopsis things. I am not.
Well, because I'm not really, plots are not super essential for me. It's what I take away from a movie. But I just remember Robert Forster as the hijacker, and kind of like a little bit in over his head. And then because you have all these people, all these great actors in the plane, like Shelley Winters and Martin Balsam and Joey Bishop and so on. And it was fun seeing like Chuck in the context of, like, say, a disaster movie in a way, because of the 70s disaster movies were big stars, like, say, like a Poseidon Adventure with Shirley Winters or whatever. So it was fun seeing that kind of mix, and I think that's what Menahem was probably going for, like kind of a big, larger than life movie. It was like over 2 hours. It was like it was big, and that's why the score was big. And given that, I think that was fun, and I think that's kind of a fun mix for Cannon, because they were doing generally like either kind of big movies or small movies that clearly had a very tiny budget. And this is definitely one of the movies that they had high expectations for, and it did well for them, and it was definitely one of their big hits. And
they made a Delta Force 2,
which I also
was
watched.
Significantly smaller budget.
Yes.
Than this. Without Lee Marvin.
And because Lee Marvin was actually, this is his last movie. He was sick while making this movie, unfortunately, and passed away. But I do enjoy the Delta Force 2, and I'll tune into the Patreon to find out what my thoughts are on that one. But I enjoyed the Delta Force. It's definitely a lot. It's a big bowl of fun for what it is. And I'm into it. It's
a good movie.
Yeah. My number 9 is something a little different for Cannon. Here is the NBC Monday Night at the Movies TV spot.
NBC network television premiere. They escape from maximum security. They hop the wrong train.
We got runaway units.
Train is out of control.
And we better do something about it.
2 convicts, 1 hostage.
This wild animal's gonna kill somebody sooner or later.
Choosing between being saved and being free on a runaway train.
There are miracles.
I wait for no miracles.
Jon Voight.
They ain't getting caught alive. I don't want to die, Manny.
And now, the heart-pounding excitement of Runaway Train.
Okay, that's Runaway Train, which I did not see in the theater. That's why I played the TV spot, because that's probably when I saw it. I think I watched it on television first. And this was Cannon's bid at doing kind of a respectable movie. And, they did... what people don't remember, not everyone remembers about Cannon, was they actually did pave the way for a lot of filmmakers to make the movies that they wanted to make. They didn't always do that, but they were definitely doing at this point. They were giving directors kind of carte blanche. This is filmmakers like, of course, Andrei Konchalovsky for this movie. Famously, Jean-Luc Godard did a movie for Cannon, and John Cassavetes, and quite a few filmmakers in this time period were making movies. Robert Altman, another one, were making movies Cannon with basically Final Cut. And this is one of those movies, and we get to see a director kind of exploring their vision on a kind of a very big budget. Well, not really big. It was like $9 million, but big, for the kind of story they were trying to tell, about a movie about prisoners escaping and then going onto a train that basically is unmanned, and it's a runaway. Clearly the title. This movie, though, it goes for the action and the adventure of that, but also the drama, with Jon Voight and Eric Roberts turning in Oscar-nominated performances, and Rebecca De Mornay kind of rounding out trio, really. And I really think this is a really well done film. It got a lot of respect when it came out. People were surprised that Cannon was making such a movie. And at the same time, it also hurt them as well, because Cannon's releasing a movie called Runaway Train. It's going to be total schlock. But it ended up being a really good film. And I watched it a few times over the years, and you know what? It really holds up. And I'm not, I like John Voight as an actor, maybe not so much as politics. He's definitely not. But yeah,
I don't like to talk about John Voight.
Yeah, he really does give it a good performance, and playing a character who will stop at nothing for his freedom. And I like where it goes at the end. And I like his adversary is John P. Ryan, who is a canon regular in this kind of respectable film as the villain, who's trying to capture him and then take him in, but also maybe they're trying to destroy each other in this movie. And it's quite a duel between the two of them in this movie. It's quite a sight, and I really like this one. I think it's really well done, and I know it has its fans, and just like I like the canon was trying to do that kind of thing as well as make schlock. So Andrei Konchalovsky's Runaway Train, my number 9. Have you seen it?
Long time ago.
Currently streaming on HBO Max.
I wouldn't give John Voight any more residuals, so I'm not going to watch it again. But I don't remember liking it, so I kind of usually when that happens, they disappear from memory. Mm-hmm. Maybe because I only have so much room in my mind anymore. If I remember one thing, I have to lose one thing, and that was gone a long time ago.
I get you. There's a lot of movies like that in my brain too. Like I can't love them all.
That train has left the station. But I'm excited about Kinjite, whatever it's called. I'm excited about that now. I'm looking it up as we speak. I'm like, man, why have I, and then you mentioned all the movies I played that year. Mm-hmm. I was working at the movie theater. I didn't have time to see everything. And we did not play Kinjite. So now I'm like, this movie just escaped me.
I can definitely see that movie not playing in a lot of theaters.
Mm-hmm. I want to check it out.
Yeah, I mean, Runaway Train 2 also probably had a limited release as well. It playing at the time, King Solomon's Mines, also from Canon. Mixed Blood, Kiss of the Spider Woman, rest in peace, William Hurt. Agnes of God, Dance with a Stranger, Target, Santa Claus the movie. This was a Christmas release, so you got Santa Claus.
Yeah, right.
You got 2 Christmas movies. It was Santa Claus the movie and the other one.
That Santa Claus the movie should have been a canon film.
It should have been, yeah. It was a Salkin movie, right? So that was kind of similar. They also had a lot of control over their movies, and they were crazy. Clue, Jewel of the Nile, Jagged Edge, Fool for Love, the canon film, Spies Like Us, Twice in a Lifetime, Bad Medicine, which I don't remember, but I know I saw it. Young Sherlock Holmes, Rocky IV, Chorus Line, After Hours, White Knights, Loose Screws, Guardian of Hell, One Magic Christmas. That was the other Christmas movie. Crush Groove. I revisited One Magic Christmas, and that movie is depressing. Crush Groove.
Yeah, it's not a fun movie.
Not a fun movie. A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Once Bitten, Deathbed. Going back to One Magic Christmas, I watched that as a family movie with the kids over Christmas, and they were super bummed.
Yeah, I love the cast. It's just the movie. It's not. One of those movies again. I saw once. I'm like, I don't need to see this.
That was so depressing. All right, let's get into our number 8. Here's yours.
Charles Bronson, a cop on the run. The mob wants him. The cops want him.
You're going to jail, Jack.
And the only one who doesn't want him is handcuffed to him.
I heard they arrested a cop.
It's your pal Murphy. He's got a gun. He's got a hostage.
Charles Bronson.
Don't mess with Jack Murphy.
Murphy's Law, rated R, starts tomorrow at theaters everywhere.
I think I saw this in the theater. I want to say yes. I did, actually. You know what? I did. I saw it at the Cameo Theater on Robinson Street in Binghamton, New York. Nice. Charles Bronson and Kathleen Wilhoit.
Yes. Wilhoit, yes.
Is it Wilhoit? She's
yes.
great.
Love her.
She is. You can only take so much of her, though, in this film. My God, she gets on your nerves.
I love that she does.
She's supposed to get on your nerves.
Exactly.
And trust me, Charles Bronson, within 5 minutes, he's already on his nerves. And He's just, I can't imagine filming this. He's like, oh my God, get me off this thing. I enjoyed this film. It's fast paced. It's fun. You've got Carrie Snodgrass, who is the killer in the movie. You have a bad guy, a female bad guy, and she's wonderful in it. And also parts of it take place at the same log cabin. I don't know if it's a log cabin, but it's a cabin from Friday the 13th, the final chapter.
That's right. Yes.
I'm like, oh my God, that's where Jason Voorhees was. No, Charles Bronson's here. A really fun, entertaining film from Cannon, 1986. I enjoy this film. It's up there for me with Death Wish 3 for Charles Bronson movies. I was more of a Chuck Norris fan than a Charles Bronson fan, but movies like this really just, made me check out some more of his movies. And this is really a good film. Michael?
Oh, I totally agree with you on this one. I really like this movie. I think it's a lot of fun. I love the pairing. I was really big into this movie, honestly, in the 80s. I just really liked the almost screwball comedy aspect of pairing two people who kind of hate each other but have to live or work with each other on something. And J. Lee Thompson again, he's back.
Yeah.
This one is less sleazy though. There's definitely an edginess to this movie with Carrie Snodgrass's character, who's kind of a killer in this movie, which is nice to see her in that role because she wasn't often playing killers. But having Bronson and Will Hoyt paired together and her like so annoying him, which was just so fun to watch. It really is kind of a joy to watch the two of them together on the screen, and it really adds a level to the buddy movies of the 80s because they were often mismatched partners, but usually it was like two dudes. Here it was like an old guy and a younger woman, so that was kind of fun thing that a lot of movies didn't have that dynamic.
There's a character actor, I think he's passed away, Bill Henderson, is in it, and he's his friend at the log cabin. Am I correct?
That sounds right. I hadn't seen this one.
He was the cop in Clue.
That's right.
Right? Am I wrong? Am I right?
He was in a lot of things. Yeah, he was definitely in Clue.
Yeah, he's a great character actor.
Yeah.
So really good.
Yeah, it's a solid movie. It's got a lot going on for it. I like the shootout at the Bradbury building. I remember that as a good set piece.
That's the Bradbury building from Blade Runner. This movie was shot in a couple of different locations from two of my favorite films, for 13th the Final Chapter, Blade Runner, which is another reason I love it.
It's got a lot going on for it. I love the poster. I always love the artwork.
Oh yeah, when they're running and there's like a badge above them, like a ghostly badge, and he's got a gun. They're handcuffed together. I think, are they handcuffed together? Anyway, it's a cool poster. Like I said, Canyon usually had really good posters.
They were good at that. Yeah, definitely very good at marketing movies, and sometimes better than the movies, but in this case, the movie is actually really strong. Also streaming on HBO Max.
Is it? I'm going to watch it again. He's a cop. She's a thief. Together, they're running for their lives. Boy, who came up with that? That must have taken them months to come up with that. It's really good.
That. There was another movie like that, kind of where they paired two women together and they were running for their lives. They were kind of like, what was it? Oh my God.
Thelma and Louise.
Yeah. Irene Cara and Tatum O'Neal, Certain Fury came out like the year before this. They were like definitely a running theme of the mid 80s doing these kinds of movies, which I enjoy. I wanted to mention that there's a Blu-ray for this movie, and on the Blu-ray is a commentary by Kathleen Wilhoit. And I listened to the commentary when it came out, and she has a lot of stories about making this movie. And I was quite surprised about her take on Charles Bronson. I was expecting to hear some pretty negative things, because, imagine Charles Bronson being kind of a grumpy dude. But she said she was delighted to work with him, and they really liked each other while making this movie, which I was like, wow, that was not what I was expecting. I thought he was actually going to be annoyed by her. Really, but he was a consummate professional, he took the role seriously. He always did a good job. He didn't, even though some of his performances are very quiet and reserved, he did give he did give it his all. And I think from what I could tell from this from that commentary, like he really was like a total pro, and she learned a lot while watching him work, which was cool.
Yeah,
I'm glad I listened to it. All right, that was your number 8. Here is mine.
Harry Mitchell has been set up as the perfect target.
They got an airtight case against me. It's my gun.
They're ruthless.
You pay us $105,000 a year for the rest of your life.
No!
But what they didn't plan on was Mitch having a plan of his own. From Elmore Leonard's gripping bestseller, Roy Scheider, and Margaret, in John Frankenheimer's 52 pickup, rated R. Starts tomorrow at theaters everywhere.
Okay, that's 52 pickup. Canon, again, we're giving directors kind of a shot. And here, John Frankenheimer got to adapt Elmore Leonard's gritty novel and put it on the screen. And you know what? This is another one, Canon movies, that really works and is really gripping and entertaining at the same time. You got Roy Scheider in the lead. You got Anne Margaret, Vanity, John Glover as a super duper fun villain. And I think definitely one of the best Elmore Leonard adaptations on screen. There have been quite a few over the years. And
I like Stick.
Stick is definitely a good one. And I enjoy Stick a lot. This one too. This one is a kind of a movie that's maybe a little bit lost in the shuffle all the time. There were a lot of movies playing. I'll read them off later, but it really holds up, and it's really gritty and entertaining and slick at the same time, which is what John Frankenheimer was really good at doing. And he adds a lot of those layers, and I really like this one. It really holds up for me, and I had a lot of fun with it. I saw it in the theater. I remember seeing it with Something Wild, which was a really fun movie, but also a movie that kind of switches gears a few times. And this one kind of has a interesting way about it because it has a few tones as well, which was not what you would always see in 80s movies. This one, which I liked. You get to see movies that kind of like got changed up and became different things in the span of its running time, which I liked. And it was nice to see Roy Scheider as kind of a not a black and white character, but kind of gray, like morally, and to see the marriage between him and Margaret, and where it goes, and how this mistake that he made by having this affair with Vanity kind of, or rather not Vanity, but someone else, but Kelly Preston rather. And it just kind of, it's a really good gripping thriller, and definitely some really good set pieces as well. John Frankenheimer is definitely good at mounting. So I'm a fan of this one. Really holds up well. There's a good Blu-ray of it too, from Kino Lorber.
I'll have to check it out again. It's been a minute since I've seen this film. I really love Roy Scheider. Is one of my absolute favorite actors, and I need to check it out again. I can honestly tell you I don't remember too much about it. I love good gritty Canon films, and Roy Scheider never disappoints.
Yeah, he doesn't here. He's good. He's like, again, grayish character. He's not the hero from Jaws. He's a guy who has some problems, but you root for him at the same time, which is nice. And by the end of the movie, it goes to some pretty crazy places. And again, John Glover, who I always like in films, he's really good here. He really adds a kind of a villain that you can kind of feel like as a real person, not like a cartoony villain.
John Glover's great.
Yeah.
I'm a friend of his, and I picked him up at the airport. I met him picking him up at the Burbank airport. He's just who you think John Glover would be. And, from like Scrooged or his role in like Gremlins 2. He's got a lot of energy. He's fun. And I like watching him play these dark roles and stuff. And he had a good time making this.
Yeah, classically trained actor. You could tell, like, he really just adds a lot to the role, which is nice.
Still working today.
Still working.
Nonstop.
Love that.
Nonstop. Yeah, he's great.
Also playing at the time, Trick or Treat, Taipan, The Color of Money, Tough Guys, Peggy Sue Got Married, Stand By Me, Something Wild, She's Gotta Have It, Quiet Cool, Crocodile Dundee, From Beyond, Children of a Lesser God, Jumpin' Jack Flash, Soul Man, Sky Bandits, Weekend Warriors, Aliens, and The Fly as a double feature. Do you remember that? Half Moon Street,
Yeah.
Running Scared, True Stories, My Beautiful Laundrette, Sherman's March, and Round Midnight, as well as Down by Law, Mona Lisa, Deadly Friend, That's Life, Sid and Nancy, Room at a View, Betty Blue, Name of the Rose, Nobody's Fool, and Blue Velvet.
Nice.
We're getting a lot of good independent films coming in at this point, as well as some really good studio movies. What a good time. Let's get into your number 7.
Charles Bronson, Death Wish 3. First, they took the streets. Then they took it all. But their next target may be their last victim. Charles Bronson, where there is no justice, there can only be vengeance. Charles Bronson, Death Wish 3, rated R.
Starts Friday at a theater near you.
Charles Bronson is back. I know I mentioned Death Wish 3 is right up there with Murphy's Law. I love Death Wish 3. And I've always loved the poster of him just with the gun and the gangs, he's cleaning up the street. I just love this movie. It's not a great film. It's cheesy as fuck, but it's like Charles Bronson saving the cast of Cocoon. It's pretty great. You know what I mean? It's
like the concept.
The seniors living in this building. They don't want to. It's like Batteries Not Included meets Cocoon meets Death Wish. Well, meets Death Wish. It is. It's just sit back, folks, and do a Charles Bronson double feature of Death Wish 3 and Murphy's Law, and you can't go wrong. It's a fun night at the movies, canon style. It's again, I overuse this word, but it's a lot of fun. This movie makes me happy. It's silly as hell. If memory serves, I think there's a bazooka in it. I'm not sure. Anyway, watch it and find out. There's definitely some heavy artillery, just some gangs running amok and people defending where they live, and Chuck Bronson's there to help them out.
I think I've said this before in this podcast. Death Wish 3 is probably my favorite war movie of all time. That's not a war movie. It really feels like a war movie because it's like Charles Bronson up against this gang that's taking over basically these tenements, this neighborhood in Brooklyn. And it's like a really bad part of Brooklyn too. And it's just really, it's fun as hell to see him do this. It's so much fun. It really is. And Michael Winner was a director who was possibly insane. It shows in his movies. And we'll talk about another one of his movies later. He really does add a weird craziness to this movie. It's bonkers. It's taking ideas of the Paul Kersey character in 1 and 2 in a gritty way, and then taking it to another level with this one. To cartoonish, over the top violence, blowing away bad dudes left and right, using, like you said, heavy artillery, where it becomes almost like a war movie.
Is there a bazooka in this?
There's definitely like a one of those machine guns where it's like you have to mount it. There is a bazooka too. That's like when it gets blown through.
All right.
And he borrowed it from Chuck Norris on Mission.
Probably.
There's so much going on. It was a movie that was made both in Brooklyn and in England. So they faked a lot of some of the sets on England, but I didn't care. It was just I just seeing all this shit go down. It was so much fun, and I always have a blast. It's too much fun to ignore, and I've seen it so many times over the years. My grandmother loved this movie. As all grandmas should. It's just crazy, over the top fun, and I can't get enough of it.
100% agree with you.
All right, I have another movie. My number 7 has a death in the title as well. Here it is.
He moves fast. He fights hard. He makes a lasting impression. Van Damme.
Whatever's going on, the guards are involved.
He loves the action.
Remember
numbers next on the list.
Wham, bam. Thank you, Van Damme.
Welcome to hell!
Death Warrant.
Starts Friday at a theater near you. Check your local listings.
That's Death Warrant, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme. So when I think of canon movies, I always think of Bronson, I think of Norris, I think of Dudikoff, and I also think of Jean-Claude Van Damme, who was making these canon movies at the time. And he, of course, did a movie we're going to talk about coming up soon on your list. This was a movie that I saw in the theater, and I had fun watching it, but it didn't penetrate in my love for action movies as much as some of the other ones at the time. So I kind of forgotten about it over the years. And then I rewatched it for the prison podcast that I did on Patreon. And I just really enjoyed it, as well as Joyce. We both really enjoyed this movie. It's super silly. The idea of Van Damme having to go undercover in prison to stop a killer that he once stopped. And to find out what's going on in the prison. There's definitely bodies piling up in this prison. Why is this happening? It's up to Mr. Jean-Claude Van Damme and his limited acting range to solve the case. And I just have a blast while watching it, because it really delivers on what you want from a prison movie, but also a Van Damme movie. There's splits, there's lots of prison action, and all the tropes that would happen in a prison movie, like the young guy who gets taken under his wings, so you know that he's going to die. There's also the wise old black character, you know he's going to die. There's the villain who's unstoppable, you know there's going to be a showdown. You know there's an evil warden, you know there's possibly a mad scientist performing experiments. It's got a lot in this movie, and it kind of and then it also has a almost sort of romance with Van Damme and Cynthia Gibb, who I thought was cute as a button at the time.
I like Cynthia Gibb,
and I like kind of their almost they have a chemistry, which is weird and fun to see. It has the weird little brother from Teen Witch and he was in Near Dark. And also River's Edge. He plays a hacker who helps Cynthia Gibb with some information that she's trying to find out to help Mr. Van Damme in prison, find out what he needs to know. It's a lot of fun. It's got a lot going on in it, and it delivers it in a nice prison movie package and a Van Damme package. And I feel like it's often overlooked in the Van Damme filmography, even though it was a hit at the time. It made nearly $17 million at the box office on a $4 million budget. So it did really well for canon, but I think over time maybe it was overshadowed by some of the other Van Damme movies. But I really go back to this one now more often because it's so much fun, and I'm into it. Have you ever seen it?
No, I have not.
Yeah, I think you'd enjoy it. It's good. It's good. Good, goofy fun.
Again, when Van Damme started to take off, I was already working at a theater. So I was going to school and working at a movie theater. I didn't really, I don't know. I just didn't catch a lot of these. And I never was really into Van Damme. The movie that stands out for me is Bloodsport. Mm-hmm. But we'll talk about that later. But I'm not a huge fan of his, but there's a couple of movies in there. I can't stand Steven Seagal, but I will watch Marked for Death any day of the week. Mm-hmm. All right. I don't know where I'm going with this whole conversation.
No, I get it. Because those particular action stars were a little bit limited in terms of what they could do in terms of the acting part of it. But I think it makes up for it in this one with all these things that I mentioned. It really is fun. You got Robert Guillaume as the wise old black character. You got
I love Robert Guillaume.
Cynthia Gibb. You have Patrick Kilpatrick as the villain. You have Joshua John Miller as the weird guy, the hacker type. It's got good background, good support there in the prison. A lot of the characters who kind of pop up. So kind of whatever Van Damme lacks in terms of acting, he makes up for in splits and supporting cast. So it's good.
That's all you can ask for, some splits and a good supporting cast.
Playing at the time, this opened in September 14th of 1990. You had The Exorcist 3, The Lemon Sisters, After Dark, My Sweet, Pump Up the Volume, Flatliners, Men at Work, The Witches, Delta Force 2 is playing, Death by Temptation, Air America, Mo Better Blues, Ghost, Darkman, Pretty Woman, Presumed Innocence, Hardware, Wild at Heart, Taking Care of Business, Problem Child, Die Hard 2, DuckTales the movie, The Freshman, Postcards from the Edge, My Blue Heaven, Cinema Paradiso, The Unbelievable Truth, White Hunter, Black Heart, The Cook, the Thief, The Wife and Her Lover, Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down, The Two Jakes, Akira Kurosawa's Dreams, and Metropolitan. Ushering in an early time for the late 80s, early 90s boom of independent film, which is fun. All right, here is our number 6s. Take it away, John.
It's about love.
I don't make love before the first date.
It's about money. It's about time for a romantic comedy like Surrender. Sally Field.
You're a weird person, aren't you?
Michael Caine. Penta. Steve Guttenberg.
You're insensitive, immature.
So what? It never bothered you before? Surrender.
I always end up in embarrassing positions with you.
I'm on a lucky streak. Rated PG. Starts Friday, October 9th at a theater near you.
Michael Caine. I love Michael Caine. Sally Field. And the Goot. Steve Guttenberg, Surrender. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. When this movie came out, I just loved it. It's just so much fun. I just remember... I'll be honest with you. It has never been on DVD.
Nope.
Or Blu-ray. Am I wrong?
Nope. I have it on VHS only. Yep.
Yep. I have the VHS, and I have not played it probably since it came out on VHS. All I know is I was in love with the film. I remember Michael Caine and Sally Field. They were at some kind of a party, and some people came in and robbed everybody and made them tie up naked together.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were, am I wrong? Is this crazy? Was there a bazooka in this scene? I'm kidding. No. But I remember he and her were awkwardly tied together. They didn't know each other. Michael Caine and Sally Field were tied.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like a horror movie, like some kind of a weird sex film, but it's a comedy. And, I want to revisit it, and I really enjoyed Surrender, and I want to know why it's never been on DVD or Blu-ray. And I get it, it's canon, but it's Sally Field and Michael Caine and the Goot.
Mm-hmm.
Why isn't it on Blu-ray?
Good question. I feel like this is definitely a movie. Like you're half of you, or more than half of you out there, are probably like, "What is Surrender?" Yeah. Because it I don't know. Time hasn't been kind. It just kind of like completely forgot about this movie, which is kind of sad because it is a total, like you said, gem. I think of a movie. It's a comedy of great actors who are very charming, at the top of their game. Being just super duper fun to watch on the screen. And especially Sally Field and Michael Caine. I think they're a great pairing. It's an unusual pairing, and that's what I like about it, because it's unusual, but they really work well together. Two pros, definitely. I like seeing Steve Guttenberg in this movie. He has a mustache in this one, which is a little different for him.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Good supporting
Probably
cast.
Got it from Tom Selleck after they had done 3 Minute a Baby. That was his mustache.
Totally. Exactly right. Peter Boyle, Jackie Cooper, Julie Kavner, Louise Lasser, Ayaman. Really good supporting cast in this movie. And I'm surprised. I'm surprised that time hasn't been, time has kind of forgotten it, but what can you do? It happened. It was directed by Jerry Belson, who, wrote some pretty fun movies. He did a lot of things. I mean, you look at his credits on IMDb and you're like, well, he's responsible for that. He did an uncredited rewrite on Close Encounters of the Third Kind. What? He made, he worked in The Odd Couple. He did the screenplay for Always. And other things. Like he's made quite a few things. He even made the crazy Jekyll and Hyde Together Again.
Wow.
And worked on a lot of big TV shows like the Mary Tyler Moore Show. So it has a pedigree behind it. It has great actors in it. It's really funny. It has some really good moments, great charm. I think DVD, Blu-ray, it needs to be available. I think more people need to see Surrender for sure. I don't even know how you can watch it. I don't know if even sure it's streaming. So
I have a VHS of it, and I will have to do that.
Yep, that's what I have too, and that's the only way I can watch it. Hopefully, you guys can track it down on the interweb somewhere, and check out Surrender. It's definitely worth your time.
100%.
Here is my number 6. I think I'm going to play a trailer for this one.
For centuries, the link between man and the primates has been shrouded in darkness, surrounded by mystery.
Dr. Phillip is expecting me.
Now, one man has closed the gap.
Well, he's a different kind of intelligence.
Forged the link.
It's different, all right.
And discovered what has always been missing.
Don't get involved in their squabbles. They sort them out.
Link, what happened in here?
Always forgive them, whatever they do. Don't ever let anything escalate.
Are you all right?
They killed Dennis.
Link, I said stop pushing! Open the door now! We've got to outthink him.
How?
Link. Man is no longer in control.
Okay, another one that time has kind of a little bit iffy about is Link from 1986, starring Terrence Stamp and Elizabeth Shue. Elizabeth Shue plays a kind of a zoology student who is invited by Terrence Stamp to kind of help him with his, he's a professor, a primatology professor, and he's needs help with his chimps, basically. And she kind of well, I said she's invited, but she kind of makes herself invited. She really wants to work with this guy. He's really smart, at the top of his field, bit eccentric. And then she starts to work for him and finds out that he's living in this big house with these chimpanzees and an orangutan named Link. And there's something going on here. There's some experiments. There's some dangerous things going on. Some chimps are dying. What's happening? And then she uncovers the truth behind it all. And this is, I'm not giving away any secrets about the movie. I think it's worth checking out to find out where it goes. It's fun to see Elizabeth Shue in a kind of almost horror movie. It was fun to see Richard Franklin as the director of this movie, who is a really good director and kind of another underappreciated director. He had made one of my favorites from the early 80s, Road Games, which is a really good thriller with Stacy Keach and Jamie Lee Curtis. He did the sequel to Psycho 2.
Love Psycho 2.
Which is a great sequel.
It is a great sequel.
Cloak and Dagger.
Love
which
it.
was just announced on Blu-ray today.
What?
From Vinegar Syndrome is putting out a deluxe Cloak and Dagger Blu-ray.
Why can't Universal go and do these films and go delve into their vaults? And like Cloak and Dagger is a movie from our youth. It's a fun film.
Well, I'm glad somebody's doing it. I'm glad Vinegar Syndrome's probably going to do a good job. They always do a great job with their transfers. Hideous artwork they're doing for it, but what can you do?
I always love the poster for Cloak and Dagger.
The poster for Cloak and Dagger is awesome. I
love it.
Yeah, it's such a good movie, and it's just a testament to Richard Franklin as a filmmaker. He crafts these movies. He was a protege of Alfred Hitchcock, and that's why he went on to do Psycho 2. He was a student of his, and it really shows in the way he can mount a thriller. And Link is certainly no exception. I think it often gets forgotten about because it's lumped into the animal terror movies, which I do happen to love. But I think it goes a bit more of a psychological direction, which is great to see the mind games being played here between orangutan and crazy mad scientist professor Darren Stamp and Elizabeth Shue. I think it's a really well done film, and I rewatched it recently, and it holds up pretty nicely. It has a Jerry Goldsmith score, which is always great to hear. It's a very fun kind of carnival-esque score. So it's a little bit different from the usual horror movie scores for sure. And it has a rather small cast. It was filmed, I think, in Australia or New Zealand. And it has a vibe to it for sure. Or Scotland, that's where it was. And I really like this one. It's kind of, again, often overlooked. But I saw it on video. I didn't see this in the theater. It came out September 19th, 1986, and performed pretty badly at the box office. And then it made its way onto HBO Canon Home Video, which is where I saw it. How about you? Have you seen it?
I watched it. I'd never seen it on its initial release, and I watched it, and I'm a huge, of course, you've got General Zod in it and Elizabeth Shue, and I'll tell you, I was really looking forward to it, and I have to be honest, I did not enjoy it. I don't know if I had to be in the right mindset. It wasn't one of my favorites. And like I said, I'm a big Elizabeth Shue fan, but I just could not get into Link. I even got the soundtrack, and it's not. I just didn't like it. I don't know. I don't know, Michael.
I could definitely see this one as being a movie not for everyone, because it has, again, it's like a psychological thriller / horror movie. It becomes more like of a conventional horror movie in the final act, I would say, or like a woman in danger kind of movie, like that kind of thing. But it's I don't know. I do like the psychological part to it, and I feel like maybe time would have been kinder for you for this one. So if you do see it playing somewhere, maybe check it out, and maybe it holds up for you. We'll see. All right, let's take a break, and we'll be back right after this.
It's just a movie set, you're flash in the pan. Sweat drips from your forehead while your foot's stuck in the sand. You're pushing 105 on the freeway, cause you've got to get to nowhere. You see the flashing red in your rear view, but you don't care. Burn me slow. If anything could possibly go wrong, it will. Hey, you wait in line to pay the fine, but you're standing at the wrong window. Then she says we close at 5, so come back tomorrow. You dodge the traffic, you fight the smog, and find the push papers in the mail. Somehow you knew all along. What do I know? It's love in your head for you. Turn me slow, you better know what to do. Murphy said if anything could possibly go wrong, it will. You may be down and out, you may not have a friend, but there's something inside driving you. You never let the freeway end. They say when you're not looking, that's when things are found. But when everyone's out looking for you, takes Christ to turn around. Let me
And we're back. I hope you enjoyed that. Let's get right back into the canon action. Here's the TV spot for your number 5.
His name is Cabretti. He's a cop. He believes that victims have rights and that crime's a disease. He's the cure. They call him Cobra, the strong arm of the law. Stallone is Cobra. Rated R. Opens this week at a theater near you.
Saw this opening weekend in the 80s. You had to see Stallone's movies because I just was such a Stallone fan. And Cobra was, again, another beautiful, it's a cool as hell poster. It's like Terminator. You know, he's just there with a gun with the cool shades, but he's chewing on a matchstick, which his character chews on a matchstick, you know. It's just pure 80s. Now, when I think of 80s movies, of course, a lot come to mind, but Cobra is in the mix. When you think of, you want a cool score, great cast, Brigitte Nielsen, you got Stallone, you got his cool sidekick that you like, who wears like a cool cap, who's the nice, fun guy. Those are the characters I want to play. But again, Michael, you're better with explaining these movies with plots and synopsises and all these and describing films. All I can do is gush or not gush about them. And I just love Cobra. The name, the title Cobra is cool. The bad guys, and they clank their giant weapons together when they're doing a chant. Remember that? Yeah, it's so stupid. But I love Cobra. Lots of action, lots of, again, the word fun. You can't watch you go to Canon films to have fun. I mean, they're not, you leave your brain at the door mostly, and this is one of them. And this is pure Stallone 80s Canon films, and you really can't go wrong.
Yeah, this is the epitome of 80s action.
Yeah.
When I think of canon 80s, mid 80s kind of movies, my mind immediately goes to like movies like Cobra. I mean, it's so 80s, this movie. It's so 80s that it stops at some point to be a music video / fashion show.
Yeah. Oh my God.
With Brigitte Nielsen, and it's amazing to watch. There's robots, there's fashion. There's
not the same robot from Rocky IV. Let's get that clear.
No, nor the robot that Chuck Norris has to another movie. Yes, so Cobra is totally fun, but it's also an interesting one because it melds the idea of action with kind of a serial killer, like almost kind of slasher element. The killer is like killing off people in kind of a slashery ways. Killer is Brian Thompson, right? He's called the Night Slasher. So it's kind of fun to see the mix of the two, because horror's definitely really big in the 80s, and so kind of like a spillover into the action genre, which I always like to watch, like the spillover. And certainly Charles Bronson and Stallone and a few of the action heroes had those in their filmography, and it's fun to see that here. I like that he cuts his pizza with scissors for no good reason.
It's just so stupid. I love it.
His lair it's always fun to see the action movie guys like houses and lairs. Sometimes they're houseboats, or like, and it's fun to it's like why are they living in these weird places? But it's fun to see his cool car that no normal cop would have, but Cobra has it, Cobretti. And yeah, a lot of action pieces. This one's jam-packed with stuff, and it's like 90
It doesn't look cheap at all.
87 minutes. I mean, it goes by in a breeze, but it's jam-packed with fun. Again, murderous villains and action set pieces, and gives you everything you want. It's got a couple of alumni from Dirty Harry movies, right? It has Rini Santoni.
Yeah,
as the one wearing the hat, right? He was in
his buddy, the cool, the fun sidekick.
Yeah, but also the killer from that movie from Dirty Harry is also Andrew Robinson. He's one of the cops in the movie as well. He's a detective, the lead detective in the movie. So Art LaFleur, who was just in another movie we just watched, and just quite a few character actors pop up in this one as well. George P. Cosmatos directed this movie, who, of course, made famously right before this movie Rambo: First Blood Part 2, which honestly is not my favorite Rambo movie. But I do enjoy his movies. Of Unknown Origin, going back to Animal Horror with the rat movie, the killer rat movie. He did that movie. That's a really entertaining movie. He did Leviathan. He did Tombstone, which is a great movie. And then of course his son is now making movies like Mandy. So I'm a fan of Cobra. I really this is when I thought of Canon, when you said, "Oh, let's do a Canon podcast," like, oh yeah, Cobra's got to be on that list somewhere, if not yours, mine. So I'm glad you picked it.
I love Cobra.
It's too much fun to ignore.
I'm gonna go chew on a matchstick right now.
Yeah,
I gotta go find some.
He definitely see the wheel spinning with Stallone in the 80s, trying to create these iconic characters. Like, he pulled it off. He pulled off quite a few of them. You don't forget Cobra.
Nope.
All right. Number 5. Here is a TV spot.
It began with a celebration, shattered by brutal violence.
We gotta kill him quickly.
Matt Hunter is the target. The only one who can oppose a deadly brotherhood.
They have a hunting club, except they don't hunt animals. They hunt men.
Bring them down.
The non-stop action movie of the year, Avenging Force.
Starts Friday at a Cineplex Odeon theater near you. Consult local listings.
Okay, Canon, Dudikoff, Avenging Force.
Avenging Force.
So, of course, Michael Dudikoff was one of the Cannon's mainstays, arguably one of their last real heroes of their movies. He was their American Ninja. He was in quite a few of their films and kind of got there to the end in the late 80s. So Avenging Force to me is the best of all the Michael Dudikoff movies. It melds the idea of Mr. American Ninja, although playing a different character this time, with what you would find in a kind of a ninja movie, but also other things. He's targeted by this, I guess, right-wing military group. They're doing all this bad shit, right? And then they're hunting people. And that's one of those most dangerous game type of movies, which were very kind of popular, which even into the 90s, you would see it in movies like Surviving the Game, for example, right? They were doing those most dangerous, or even Hard Target, right? Yeah, I really enjoy those movies. I think they're a lot of fun. And for me, this is one of the better ones of the 80s. You get to see Michael Dudikoff paired with Steve James. He was paired with him a few times. And then we get to the bad guy, played by John P. Ryan. Mr. John P. Ryan, who's in so many of these movies. It's so much fun to watch. He's going over the top with his performance in the best possible way and adding so much to the characters and that he plays, like movies like Delta Force 2 and this and so many others. And it's so much fun to see him in these movies. I have a blast watching this one every time I watch it, and it's just a lot of action fun. Michael Dudikoff bringing his brand of action. I prefer this movie to the American Ninja movies, which are fun, but I think when I think of Cannon and Dudikoff, I go immediately to Avenging Force, which gives me everything I need in a Cannon action movie, and good villain, great set pieces, a fun sidekick. I always think Steve James is fun to watch movies, and he's in quite a few of the Cannon movies, and especially the ones with Dudikoff, which is fun to see them paired together. And I think Dudikoff has said he always really liked working with him. Interestingly enough, this was kind of a sequel to Invasion USA.
Oh wow!
We don't, which is because it's actually Dudikoff's character is Matt Hunter, which is the same name as the character in the Invasion USA. It was meant to be a Chuck Norris movie, but Chuck wasn't interested in the role, so went to Dudikoff, and so he's not quite playing the same character, but it's the same. But he's named the same character. So
let's just keep this. They didn't even bother changing the name.
I like that they didn't bother changing the name, which is very telling of what Cannon was doing at this time period.
Yeah, not giving a shit.
No, but as long as they get those movies out there, and this one definitely got up there.
I'm not gonna lie, I've never seen it.
Oh, you gotta see it.
Another one. There's a few on your list, and you always do this, Michael.
I always do it.
I thought I saw everything. I always make these long lists after we're done talking on these podcasts, because there's like so many things you get me excited to see. And then I'm usually mad at you for a week after I finally watch them. I'm kidding. No, this is I will definitely check this one out too. So I want to watch Kinjite and this. I can't even freaking say that. But Cobra, easy to say.
Oh yeah. Avenging Force, definitely worthwhile. It's like it runs a little bit longer than some of the other ones, but you know what? This one goes by in a breeze too. It's just jam packed with stuff. That's probably what it is. But also again, a fun villain, John P. Ryan. I saw this in the theater. This was a really big day of movies. I saw it I think it was like 3 movies I saw that day. I saw this one and Bedroom Eyes and American Justice, which I barely remember now. It was at the Walker Theater, which was a fun theater to hop. It was very easy too, and so we watched like 3 or 4 movies at a time. So big day of movies, September 12, 1986. This movie made $4.6 million box office on a $4 million budget, so it recouped its money. Probably did really well on home video. Playing at the time, again, American Justice, Bedroom Eyes, but also Nothing in Common, Ruthless People, Extremities, Manhunter, The Karate Kid Part 2, Born American, Bullies, Dead End Drive-In, Tenement, Codename Wild Geese, Hands of Steel, Reformed Schoolgirls, Running Scared, The Fly, Aliens, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Back to School, Transformers the Movie, Night of the Creeps, About Last Night, Heartburn, She's Gotta Have It, Smooth Talk, Vamp, A Man and a Woman 20 Years Later, Stand By Me, Legal Eagles, One Crazy Summer, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, which was from Canon, and My American Cousin. There were quite a few action movies playing at the time, so maybe that's why I got a little bit lost in the shuffle. Certainly Karate Kid Part 2 was the big movie that everyone was going to see at that time period. But yeah, definitely worth checking out. I'm sure it's streaming and on Blu-ray. I have it on Blu-ray from, I think, Kino Lorber again. It's worth checking out for sure. I also wanted to mention before we move on, Midnight Ride was another Michael Dudikoff movie that I really enjoy that's also forgotten by time. It's a hybrid, I would say, action horror movie with Mr. Luke Skywalker himself, Mark Hamill, playing a serial killer who collects eyeballs.
That's amazing.
And he targets Mr. Dudikoff as well as his wife. They're kind of like a bickering couple on a verge of divorce. And then the serial killer kind of targets them. It's like a road trip movie as well. It gets kind of crazy. It's a movie that needs to be seen more. It was never properly transferred. It was released on home video, but it's a 235 movie, so it doesn't look very good on video. I think it might be playing in like Tubi, but in a terrible transfer somewhere like that. It really needs to be seen more. So I just wanted to give a little shout out to Midnight Ride from 1990, a Dudikoff action flick, but also horror movie that's worth checking out. Hopefully a DVD Blu-ray will come out.
All right. Well, that's something I'll watch.
Here is a TV spot for your number 4.
The Kumite, the world's ultimate competition. The true story of a contest so deadly it must be held in total secrecy. Now, one American has come to this hidden location to win the toughest battle of hand-to-hand full-contact karate. Martial arts sensation Jean-Claude Van Damme fights to be world champion in Bloodsport, rated R.
Starts Friday at select theaters.
Kinjite.
No. Yeah, I know. No.
Kumite.
I was going to say, I love the music. In fact, the score to this film, the soundtrack, just came out on vinyl and a special. So if you Google it, it might still be available. And I was so damn excited to have this. I love this film. It played at the theater I worked at. It played for like a week. I don't think it did very well. I don't remember it playing. I don't remember it making a big. I think it's over time has gained this cult following, and it's certainly, in my opinion, not that I've seen more than a couple. Jean-Claude Van Damme's, if not his most popular works. It's a lot of fun, and again, like Cobra, 100% 80s, 110. The music, the character actors in this. You got Ogre from who actually forms full sentences in this because he's a good actor. Wasn't he Sloth in the Goonies?
No,
John Matuszak?
That was Matuszak. Yeah, he was. This one was in Revenge of the Nerds, and
okay, but he's also Sloth, correct?
No, that was the football player, John Matuszak. Yeah.
Oh wait, so who plays Booger or Ogre in Revenge of the Nerds?
Isn't it Donald Gibb?
It might be. Anyway, well, he's in Sorry, everybody. He's in Bloodsport. I need another coffee. And he's, let's get off him. Anyway, Bloodsport, great film, a lot of fun, action-packed, and some just really cheesy, fun moments in this film. Pure, and this is what I look for in a canon film, pure 80s. Michael?
Oh, yeah. Bolo Yuang, right? He was the adversary. It was fun to watch Bolo Yang in a movie. He's a lot of fun to watch.
With great montages. You get some great. There's some montages in Cobra, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yes.
But the montages in this are just so great.
This is the best Van Damme movie to have Forrest Whitaker in it.
Oh yeah, that's right. I was trying to think if everybody was in this.
That's right, and I think quite a few people. Leah Ayres, who was in, she was like the final girl in The Burning, and she was also in like movies like All That Jazz and a few other things. There was definitely some good people pop up in this one. This was actually a hit at the time. It actually did really well in I think in urban areas. This was the kind of a movie that played for months. I remember this one played for months in New York City.
Wow.
I just remember it being in Times Square for a really long time. It did really well because it pleased
not at my theater.
It pleased a lot of action fans and of course the kung fu audience. And even though it's blood sports, a different kind of martial arts, but it was a lot of fun. I remember seeing it in the theater and just like having this is my introduction to Van Damme. This is one of his first movies. He had done a couple of things for Cannon before. And he had shown up in a couple of other things as well, but he was the kind of person who really wanted to make himself be somebody. He insisted. I think he kind of stalked, even maybe even stalked the Golan Globus into being a star in his movies. He kept popping up in things. He even pops up in Break-In in the background. He was just always there. He's like, oh, you're gonna notice me. I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be in your movies. I'm gonna be a star. And you know what? It worked because they're like, okay, we're tired of seeing you. You're gonna be in one of our movies, and they made Bloodsport. Yeah. And the rest is history, of course. The set pieces, the action's really done wonderfully in this movie, and it's good. It's interesting to know that they had a hard time making this movie with the action set pieces. They did not like, Cannon was not liking with the footage they were getting. So what Van Damme offered was, let me edit the action sequences in this movie. And he did. And he really added a lot to it. For some reason, magically, he made these action movies, action set pieces really work. And it became a really exciting film from it. And so a lot of the credit really should go to Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I did not see, this is why we talk, because I did not know any of this.
Funny enough, if you check out the two Cannon documentaries, the first one was called Electric Boogaloo, about the making of Cannon, of the company as well, and of all their films. And then, of course, the Menahem and Globus wanted to make their own documentary when they heard somebody was making a documentary about them. So they made their own called the Go-Go Boys. So two competing Cannon documentaries came out in 2014, and in true Cannon fashion, the Golan Globus documentary came out before this, the Electric Boogaloo. Electric Boogaloo has really good interviews and a lot of the directors who talk about the movies and how, what their input was and what it was like working with Cannon and all the trials and tribulations of working with Cannon. And it's a really good documentary, as well as the Golden Globus one as well. It's a little bit different. It's definitely more nostalgic. I would say it's a little bit more personal for the filmmakers. It's a little definitely geared more towards the positive than some of the negatives that happen in the Cannon world. Because as we know, by 1988, they were hurting financially, so they only had a few hits, and Bloodsport was one of them. And so it's fun to see the two documentaries in two different points of view. So I definitely recommend them. You come away learning a lot about Cannon.
God, I miss Cannon.
All right, let's get to my number 4. Here is the radio spot.
Charles Bronson is a cop looking for a killer, and he's running out of time. 10 to midnight.
I'm a mean, selfish son of a... But I want to kill her, and what I want comes first. We found some blood.
He's lying. There was no blood on my clothes, and he knows it.
When there is no justice, Charles Bronson is the law. 10 to midnight. From Cannon Releasing, rated R. No one under 17 admitted without parent or guardian.
Okay, that's 10 to midnight. I had to do another, we got a lot of Bronson today, because Bronson was really a big part of Cannon's Cannon. They were churning out a lot of movies in the 80s, and Bronson was their big star. Here, again, going back to the hybrid of action and kind of horror, cop movie meets slasher movie, where you get to see kind of both points of view. You get to see the cop and the investigation, but also the killer as well, which was interesting and a good change up for what was happening at the time. So the killer in this movie is quite a killer. He tends to kill people naked.
Yeah. He's naked, not the people.
Yes, he has to be naked, not
his
victims.
That's how you watch this movie. You have to be naked when you watch this movie.
That's the best way to watch this movie.
Yes.
We talked about J. Lee Thompson and the Sleaze Factor. Here he is, the director, making a sleazy thriller / horror movie. Gene Davis is the killer. Bronson is the cop who investigating the case. You got Andrew Stevens as his partner. That's a fun pairing there. Lisa Eilbacher as a potential victim / love interest for Andrew Stevens. Wilford Brimley is in this movie.
You gotta have Wilford Brimley.
Kelly Preston, again, another Cannon movie. It's a fun movie. It really is. It's sleazy. It's definitely easier to watch than Kinjite, I would say. Like you will need a shower, but maybe not as long of a one than Kinjite.
A shorter shower.
Yeah, exactly. I saw this in the theater at the Rivoli Twin Theater in Times Square with Vigilante, which is an action-packed revenge movie with Robert Forster, and definitely very gritty double feature showing New York and LA. You have that gritty early 80s-ness, and I had a lot of fun with that. It's a movie that I go back to. I think it really holds up. Scream Factory put out a Blu-ray of it, and it's entertaining. It's got good extras. And how about you? What's your take on 10 to Midnight?
I watched it recently, and I got to be honest, I enjoyed I love gritty movies, either set in New York or in LA, and this one delivered. A fan of it. It's not a blast, like it doesn't have a fun tongue-in-cheek tone like Death Wish 3 or Murphy's Law at all, but it certainly is a gritty Charles Bronson movie, and I really enjoyed it.
Another good poster too.
Yeah, it's the artwork's it's an odd looking poster, but it's so odd that it's interesting at the same time.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things that has a few elements on it. You have to your eyes go to different places.
It's not the greatest artwork, but it's definitely. I was actually just looking. I was like, it definitely catches your eye, and it's like, who the hell drew this? But at least it's illustrated. I always give it props for being illustrated, even if it's a bad illustration. And 10 to Midnight's kind of a classic looking poster as far as you remember the movie because of that poster.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's another one of Cannon's films where they had a title. They're like, okay, we have a title, 10 to Midnight. Let's make a movie. And they sold it on the title.
Yep.
And it works. It somehow works. I don't know how it works, because it probably shouldn't, but it does. And it's entertaining. And again, I think it's a lot of because of J. Lee Thompson's input. I think he had a hand in the story and in the screenplay. So you can see the sleaze coming in from there, which is fun. It's definitely one of the more fun sleazy efforts from the Cannon Library. Playing at the time, again, Vigilante, but also The Entity, Sophie's Choice, Francis, The Year of Living Dangerously, Table for Five, Lovesick, Tootsie, The Lords of Discipline, Trenchcoat, Missing, The Verdict, The Dark Crystal, Victor Victoria, An Officer and a Gentleman, The Pirates of Penzance, Starstruck. I remember like, hey, do you want to go see The Pirates of Penzance? No, I want to see 10 to Midnight.
Yeah.
I picked that over the Pirates. Starstruck, they were playing right around the corner from each other. Starstruck, King of Comedy, 48 Hours, Local Hero, Betrayal, Tootsie, Tender Mercies, Liana, Time Walker, Joysticks, My Favorite Year, and One Dark Night. What a fun time. All right, let's get to your number 3. Here it is.
They watched. They waited. Now their time has come. Out of the depths of space, the ultimate terror. He knows what it is.
You don't know what we're dealing with here.
An evil we cannot comprehend. A beauty we cannot resist.
Come, be with me.
An alien force that feeds on raw living energy.
It's already spreading. If you didn't stop it, it's too late.
Life force. In the blink of an eye, the terror begins. Rated R.
Starts Friday at a theater near you.
Oh my gosh. What other movie? Now, Michael, I know I've said this throughout this podcast. You're better at describing this. I wouldn't even know where to start with this movie other than you're in outer space. Is it alien? What are they going to find? Oh, it's more naked people. Canon love their naked people. Naked space vampires.
Souls.
They bring them to Earth. Let me just say, this movie, it looks so good. The effects are kind of awesome 80s effects.
Mm-hmm.
And they're really, some of them work, some of them don't. I just love the way it looks. By the way, speaking of soundtracks, the soundtrack to Life, sorry, my dog just shook. He's so excited. The soundtrack to Life Force is so fucking good. I absolutely adore the score. I want the vinyl. I'm not even sure if it's on vinyl. The score to Life Force is so good. They've got naked vampires running around. Patrick Stewart's in this. But then it transforms from a vampire movie into a zombie film. And art, like some kind of a crazy. I can't explain the second half of the movie. The first part, you kind of follow along.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just goes so batshit crazy. You want to get high so you can try to, you get high without even getting high watching this movie. You don't even need to get high. The movie makes you high.
Totally.
I don't know if I'm making sense.
You
can tell there's a level of excitement in my voice because talking about Life Force, I don't understand it, but I absolutely fucking love it. And it's coming out in 4K in a couple months, and I couldn't be happier.
Who did the score? Was it Horner?
What's that?
Who did the score? Was it Horner?
Oh gosh, it wasn't Horner, but I'll have to look it up. It wasn't James Horner, no. But The score is so fucking good. I'm gonna look it up. So tell us what you think of this film while I look this up.
Henry Mancini did the score.
Yes,
which is crazy.
It's crazy.
Wait, really? I'm gonna do Breakfast at Tiffany's and then Life Force. This is a completely bonkers movie. From beginning to end. I mean, it does shift in the second half, which makes it even more crazy. I mean, I guess Toby Hooper was doing that at the time, like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 movie was kind of like that. I guess it kind of shifts and becomes really over the top and crazy towards the second part of it. This was quite a movie for a 10-year-old me in 1985. To be honest,
me too. Wait, so anyway, I was 13.
Yeah, I mean, naked Matilda May throughout the whole movie, space vampire, zombie.
I always think it was kind of funny where, she's totally nude, but like the guys who are in it, like these model, like these hunky dudes are the space, and they're like perfectly, the glass is perfectly frosted with their junk is. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of funny.
We don't want to see that. We want to see Matilda.
We want to see Matilda May without frosted glass.
It's a pretty nutty movie. Dan O'Bannon, of course, famous for his
Return of the Living Dead.
Return of the Living Dead. Yep. On here as a writer, you mix that with Toby Hooper, you got to get a pretty crazy fucking movie, and that's what you get with this one. It has to be seen to be believed. Really, honestly, it's got respectable people in it. It's got a great British cast. Patrick Stewart is in this movie, for God's sakes. But it's out there. I mean, I don't know why it didn't connect with audiences as much. I mean, it was a big movie. It had what was it? Dijkstra did the effects. So it was like crazy,
Dijkstra.
Yeah, crazy, amazing effects, and it's pretty outlandish. Maybe it would have benefited from like a better lead. I mean, I like Steve Railsback, but I feel like this needed like a big star, right? That might have made it more of a mainstream hit. Someone they could sell it on instead of like I mean, the poster, and which is great, by the way, but I feel like there's no people in the poster. It's like, okay, an eye looking at the earth is not, and they're selling it on the, okay, it's the guy who directed Poltergeist, which is great. I mean, I want to see that movie, but I don't know if that's gonna.
We all know who really directed Poltergeist, but go ahead.
Exactly, the guy who was on the set of Poltergeist. So yeah, it's clearly that this movie, the people who are making this movie were on drugs while watching it. I mean, it's obvious. That's the only one that can only explain this movie, but it's doesn't make it any less entertaining. It's super entertaining, and it's got a lot of like great things in it and a lot of weird things, but you're never bored because of what you're seeing on the screen. It's like, okay, my mouth was open like the whole time, I think, when I was 10. That's good, right?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, why not?
It's such a it's fun, and yet the movie should have been called Batshit Crazy, because it is.
It is.
The American movie poster, I was never a fan of. I don't think it did anything for the film. It's just a giant eyeball overlooking the earth, which is super fucking lazy. The international posters, which you can't do in America because we're so stuck up, or what's a word? I'm look prudes. I don't know what you'd want to call it. It's a couple of naked chicks. Well, there's only one in the movie, but there's a couple of naked chicks strapped to like spaceships heading to Earth, and they're nude on the poster. I'm like, that's cool.
That's the way
that would make you want to see the movie.
That's what they should have went with.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't show full on, it doesn't go into detail, but they are definitely, topless and bottomless on the poster, but it's not too graphic. Right. Where it's like, that could have worked. Look what they did for James Bond and For Your Eyes Only. That poster had a girl in her, a model looking through her legs, and you can see her butt. And but I remember in the newspaper, the manager of the theater had drew pants on her, and before the ad went in the paper. I'm like, what's the deal? Anyway, go ahead. Sorry, I went all over the place.
A rare poster miss for Canon. So what can you do?
Yeah,
considering they had so much money behind this one, I think they were trying to maybe make it look classier than it was. That's probably what I'm getting from that vibe, but it's not.
Maybe they were doing the Alien thing where it was just this.
Oh
egg
yeah,
cracking.
You're right.
And maybe they're like, well, that was simple. Let's do a giant eyeball. And I got to be honest with you. Up until like 5 years ago, I'm like, wonder what that is up there. Is it a ship? He goes, it's an eyeball. I'm like, oh my god, it's an eyeball. I never really figured it out.
I know, because you could. Yeah, it's strange enough where you have to like you can't. Yeah, it's definitely weird.
Yeah, they were trying to go with that, but I just love Life Force because to this day it's just so insane. But you know what else I like about it? I'd like to add the practical. I talked about the effects, but the practical effects are so fucking good when she sucks the life out of the doctor and the security guard, and they literally drain right in front of you, and the lightning bolts, and it's just some pretty badass effects with a great score, terrible poster, and really hot people walking around naked and killing other people. Not so good-looking people.
The way it should be. All right. Life Force. Here's my. I think I'm on drugs now. Here is my number 3.
You get high just talking about Life Force.
I do.
Bronson is back in the biggest death wish ever. It's either him or us. Drug dealers rule an empire within our streets and beyond our laws.
I warned you, I'd kill her!
But the one thing they didn't count on was a one-man crackdown.
Who are you? Dead.
Charles Bronson, Death Wish 4, The Crackdown, rated R.
Death Wish 4 starts Friday at a theater near you.
Okay, I changed up my list a little bit, so you're not sure what I'm going to pick, are you?
I don't.
Death Wish 4, The Crackdown.
All right.
Crack is whack, so it's up to Charles Bronson to stop crack.
Wow.
All right, so I revisited this movie for the Death Wish podcast I did a couple years back, and I'm like, this movie I had a total ball while watching it. I'm like, I need to revisit. I need to have another watch. I need to relive to see if that actually is true. And you know what? It is. It really is. It's so much fun to watch because it's total canon by this point. This is 1987 canon. This is like they're not having no bones about it. They're not no bones about like what Paul Kersey is, what he does. There's not pretending it's. They're not going to pretend it's going to be. It's the original film anymore. He's going to blast some dudes away. They're tackling a hot button issue at the time, of course, crack,
right?
And or just like the drug problem in the United States was so over the top and crazy at the time. So it's up to Paul Kersey to stop it. But what I love about this movie is that it's LA. It's got scenes in, let's see, we got a scene in like not an amusement park, but like like an arcade kind of place. You got a scene at a roller rink. You got a scene at a video store. You got all these like all these fun 80s kind of things in this movie. And Charles Bronson in the middle of it all. He's kind of he's hired by John P. Ryan again. Love John P. Ryan. Here he's playing this guy who's saying, okay, his daughter was killed by drugs. Now Paul Kersey has been dating Kate Lenz. The movie starts off with her daughter, and she falls victim to crack in the beginning of the film and dies. So of course, Kersey has that on his mind. He wants to get revenge. John P. Ryan comes along. My daughter was also a victim. You got to stop these drug people from putting this shit out in the streets. So what he does is he goes after two different sides, two different opposing drug lords, if you will, who are putting this stuff out in the streets, and then kind of plays them against each other and kind of offs them off by one. And I love that Paul Kersey is like under disguise a few times. He's like he's pretending to be like at some point a valet. He's doing like he's like a wine like butler. Like he's playing all these like different characters to infiltrate these drug people. And it's just fun to see him play these sides and go after people and just blow them away. And simple, straight to the point, fun. And then, of course, leading to like a main big bad villain who he has to go after, and then taking care of business, Paul Kersey style.
Paul Kersey style.
There's an opening scene of like a woman being attacked in a parking garage, and then it's like multiple guys like attacking this woman. This is now a J. Lee Thompson film. So like a very sleazy scene of like this woman being attacked in a parking garage, and then Paul Kersey shows up out of the darkness, and they're like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "Death," and he blows them all away. This is how your movie begins. Like, oh,
I love it.
This is the kind of movie for me, and it doesn't stop from there. It's like 90 minutes of like him blowing away people, and then I had so much fun watching this movie, revisiting this movie. It's a movie I saw.
Is it better than Part 3?
No, it's different. It's like Part 3, like it gives me the war movie fix that I want from like that kind of the setting. This is more low key, I guess, but and silly. Like the Death Wish movies kind of like often the first one was gritty New York, the second one was gritty LA, the third one was gritty Brooklyn / England, and the fourth one goes back to LA. I like that they kind of go back and forth to New York and LA in these movies, so it kind of gives me a little bit of a variety with the scenarios, and again mixing in all those like 80s elements like I mentioned, and seeing all those like those scenes, and just really like seeing Bronson in a video store that's populated by all these fun movies, and then he goes to the back of the video store and it's wall-to-wall Canon posters. It's just fun to watch. Fun to watch.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's like a different vibe from Part 3, but equally fun. In their its own way. It's not as over the top, but it's over the top in kind of in this movie's context.
In a Paul Kersey way.
In a Paul Kersey way. I saw this. This was a big day of movies at the theater. I saw this movie, Fatal Beauty, Hello Again, and like half of The Sicilian, which I think I walked in halfway through it or whatever it was. I had a lot of fun. You haven't seen this one in a while, I take it?
I've never seen Part 4. I barely remember part 1. I don't
Part
think
1's
I
great,
remember
great
part
movie.
2. But part 3 is the one that I just love so much, because I think just because I was at the right age to see part 3.
Yeah.
And that's the one that stuck with me. And part 4 did not play at my local theaters.
Yeah.
And by that time, I was already, what year did that get released, part 4?
Yeah, in November of 1987. So
87. So yeah, I just, it didn't open at my theater, and movies weren't as accessible as they are today. So just one that never was on my radar. I always thought it was direct to video. Then I realized, oh, this actually played at the movies. I didn't realize it.
yeah, all 5 of them somehow got a theatrical release, but the 5th one was a little more
Wait, there's
like
a
limited.
part 5?
Yep.
All right.
In
I didn't even
19
know. All right.
in 1994 they released part 5.
I'm gonna have to do a Paul Kersey 5 movie marathon.
Oh yeah, you got to do it. It's fun.
All right.
I vouch for this movie. It's a lot of fun. It really is.
All right.
Again, mentioning playing at the time, I saw those movies in the theater, as well as The Hidden, Suspect, Someone to Watch Over Me, Weeds, Hiding Out, No Man's Land, Ruskies, Baby Boom, Less Than Zero, Prince of Darkness, Made in Heaven, Deadly Illusion, Princess Bride, Like Father Like Son, Fatal Attraction, The Whistleblower, Matawan, Hello Mary Lou, Prom Night 2, Slam Dance, House of Games, No Way Out, Dancers, I've Heard the Mermaid Singing, My Life as a Dog, Wish You Were Here, Big Shots, China Girl, Cry Freedom, Fire and Ice, Man in the Spring, Maurice, Barfly, and Anna. Wow, lots of great movies. And I saw a lot of those in the movie theater, which was 87 was a big year for me in theaters. All right, let's get into our number 2s. Here's yours.
It's not for the money.
What are the odds on Lincoln Hawk? 20 to 1, pal. Real long shot.
It's not for the glory.
You ain't got a prayer in Vegas.
It's for the love of his son.
All I care about is you. You're my boy.
You want it?
Sylvester Stallone.
Why not?
Over the Top, rated PG, opens this week.
Kenny Loggins, meet me halfway across. I mean, that song just plays on a loop in this movie over and over and over and over and over. And I can't get enough of it. I love Over the Top. Stallone, the kid, what's his name? I can't think of his name. I went to a wedding of a buddy of mine, and he was there. He was like a Facebook friend with me for like a minute. I don't know what I posted, but he's not my friend anymore. So I lost a little bit of love for Over the Top. But anyway, Stallone has to turn his cap backwards before he arm wrestles.
Oh yes, that's very important.
Picks up his kid at military school, and the kid is estranged from his dad. His mom's dying in the hospital. He's going to take his kid across country in his truck. Hawk is going to take his kid across country so they can bond, and of course he's got like a weight training unit in his cab of his truck so he can exercise his arms while he's driving. While Kenny Loggins music plays in the background. Of course, the grandfather, played by the great Robert Loggia, will stop at nothing to stop Hawk from the kid reuniting with him. It's pretty great. And that's all I have to say about Over the Top. And the big tournament at the end, it's the Karate Kid for the arm wrestling crowd.
That's basically what they were going. That's the vibe you get for this movie, yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Karate Kids were hits. Got to do a movie like that. We got to do another Rocky. We got to do something with Stallone. You need to make a new sport, make it big, make it happen. Arm wrestling.
Love it.
This was the talk. This was the talk of the playground, 1987.
It's so amazing. It's so, I don't think it's cheesy. I think it's a fun movie. Dudley, my dog just walked away. He wants to hear more about Life Force.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Life Top if you combine Over the Top and Life Force. I must be still high from talking about Life Force, because Over the Top, you'll notice as my list gets down to number 1, I get more and more excited because the coffee has kicked in. I'm a little high from Life Force, and these movies are such an important part of my youth. Canon film, just oh my God, Over the Top. It's a movie that, like, if it's on TV, I'll just stick around and watch, or I'll put it on and let that play in the background. Over the Top is so good. It's fun. It's a great Stallone. It's a feel-good movie.
Yeah.
in
Exactly.
the tradition of the Karate Kid. It's Canon Films Karate Kid, their version of that.
It's definitely that. It's definitely, they were, going for a PG audience, so they wanted kids to go see this movie. They wanted, again, like I said, it was the talk of the playground because it was easier to access than some of the other R-rated movies for kids of Canon. So we're gonna go see this. We're gonna see this new Canon movie. It's Stallone. It's arm wrestling, and it was just a lot of fun at the time.
And Robert Loggia walks around completely naked in the movie, and he turns people into zombies. That's just the director's cut. It's a Canon film.
That was this was directed by Menahem Golan. So
yeah,
he was like, okay, we gotta make a big movie with Stallone. I'm gonna do it myself, and it's gonna be the best. And
thank you.
It's fun. It's 93 minutes of it's a 93
pure joy.
It's a 93-minute montage.
You gotta have this my montage.
This is all montage.
It's pure joy. Pure joy is over the top.
Exactly. Go over the top with us and watch over the top. My number 2, here we go.
The movie that's fresh and hot with high energy, dancing to the beat with a scratch mix sound that comes from the street. This movie is unique. Don't be mistaken, you got to see Breaking. Breaking, rated PG, starts Friday, May 4th. Check local listing.
Of course, Canon was all about cashing in on the crazes, cashing in on what was happening at the time, what was popular, trying to also at the same time trying to make things happen. What was happening in the early 80s? Breakdancing.
Oh boy.
So we gotta cash it on the breakdancing craze. So they rushed it out. They got, okay, we're gonna do this breakdancing movie. I think what was it? Maybe Menahem's daughter was talking to her dad about breakdancing and like what she was seeing on the streets, and then he's like, okay, we make a movie. And they made a movie. We make movie. And they make Breakin'. And Breakin' is a movie that came out in May of 1984. So really right when the craze was really happening, the height of the breakdancing craze, certainly in New York, it was very big. I'm not sure about LA yet, what was happening in LA. But it was a very big thing. It was a very big thing, especially in urban areas in New York City. And I just remember how much anticipation there was for this movie, and it was as big in New York as it was like something like Flashdance, which was a very big hit, or Footloose in 1984, which played for months and months and months. By the way, Footloose, Break-In was that movie. It played in Times Square for a few months because it really hit a chord with audiences in at least New York at the time, and it was actually turned out to be one of their big hits, and probably one of the hits that really propelled Canon to be a bigger studio, maybe take on too much, if you will, as they did in the 80s. And I just really enjoyed it because I liked a good dance movie, and this is what that was. It's really a lot of fun. It's got a lot of energy. It really heavily relies, I would say, on the dancing style of Shabba-Doo, who unfortunately passed away in 2020. And he was great. I loved him. I mean, I think him and Bubbaloo Shrimp, Turbo, if you will, Electric Boogaloo, as he became in the sequel, was a lot of fun. But mixing the pairing of those two and their dance styles with Lucinda Dickey, who wasn't quite known for her breakdancing, but more of her kind of balletic style, if you will, and mixing those two together. She plays Special K in the film, and you get those three, and then other people show up in this movie, like I would say, what was it, Christopher McDonald? He's kind of very villainous. Ice-T has a great rap in this movie, and he of course rapped that TV spot that we played, which is fun. Kind of was really cashing in a craze, but in the best possible way with this one. It really has a lot of energy and a vibe that I know the sequel's very fondly remembered, but I feel like because they filmed it so quickly after the first one, it doesn't quite It wasn't quite as thought out. I mean, there's definitely great set pieces in the sequel, like when when Boogaloo Shrimp does the whole walking on the ceiling bit, which I really it was a lot of fun. It has some great songs in that one too, but it doesn't have the energy of the first movie.
You know what it has, Michael?
What?
It has a great title.
Yeah, Breaking Two.
Boogaloo.
Breaking Two is off the title. Yeah,
I still reference that for whatever sequel I'm talking about. Die Hard 2, Electric Boogaloo, Gremlins 2, Electric Boogaloo. Electric Boogaloo is one of the greatest. What do you call subtitles? What do you call that? Like
it's a subtitle. Yeah.
It is one of the greatest, and it can never be beat.
Yeah, and it was a great poster. It was just a lot of. It was the idea and the concepts behind it were fun, and some of the dancing's fun. It just doesn't quite have the energy of this movie, and I guess maybe because the choreography was so strong in this one, but it does have the sequel does have the save the old like rec center kind of plot thing, which is I like too. I'm guilty of enjoying those kind of lazy concepts in movies, but this one really hits with me. I saw it at the RKO National Twin Theater in Times Square. I saw it along with The Natural, which I love it. I love The Natural, and that's actually the movie I saw multiple times in the theater. Also playing at the time, Hard Bodies, Caged Women, Alphabet City, Police Academy, Splash, Purple Hearts, 16 Candles, I think opened the same exact day. Friday 13 Part 4, Swing Shift, Romancing the Stone, Moscow on the Hudson, Footloose, Terms of Endearment, Conquest, Weekend Past, Greystoke, The Legend of Tarzan, The Bounty, Where the Boys Are, Suburbia, This is Spinal Tap, Racing with the Moon, Up the Creek, El Norte, Fanny and Alexander, The Buddy System, Iceman, Unfaithfully Yours, Blame It on Rio, and The Hotel New Hampshire, all playing at the same time in New York City, at least. And I had a lot of fun seeing a lot of those movies. Break In makes me want to break dance, even though I will hurt myself if I try.
Unrelated, sort of, because you made me think the Police Academy. I might have said this in previous podcasts, but Tom Hanks told me that he was up for the role of Mahoney in Police Academy. Now, what would that have been like if Tom had done 4 or 5 police?
He wouldn't have done Splash or those other movies.
Right? So there you go.
Good call. Good call, Tom. All right, let's get into our number ones. Here's yours.
He is the most feared and powerful warrior, a ninja who explodes onto America. His soul transforms her into a lethal assassin.
Who are you?
Her only hope is Yamada, the master ninja who has been sent to destroy him. An epic struggle of superhuman strength and supernatural forces. Ninja 3, The Domination. Rated R.
Lucinda Dickey is done electric boogling because she's killing people. She's got the ghost of a ninja inside of her, and she is she's pretty badass. I hadn't seen Ninja 1. I hadn't seen Ninja 2. I still haven't seen Ninja 1 or Ninja 2, but I have seen Ninja 3 because I saw it opening night. There was nothing else really I wanted to go see. Plus, I got free to the Cameo Theater just before I worked there. And I would go, and I went with my buddy, and we had so much fun watching, because you don't need to see Ninja 1 or Ninja 2. Ninja 3 holds its own.
Yep.
It's not really a hard plot to follow. It's not really realistic at all, but it's pure canon 80s. It's just the ghost of a ninja. She's up on she works for the phone company, the electric company.
Right.
She's on a telephone pole, and a ninja comes and I don't know, gets inside her body, and she goes around killing people. I mean, there's no other way to put it. And then who plays the boyfriend in that? What's his name?
Oh, I don't know his name, but he's like one of the hairiest dudes I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah, literally, that's what I was going to bring it. Like, he takes his shirt off in one scene, and his back is like Chewbacca's jealous. It's ridiculous how much hair this man has on his back. You'd think before you take your shirt off in a movie, you'd shave your fucking back. Because he looks, I don't know, he just looks, it's so weird. But Ninja 3, The Domination, dominates the number one spot on my Canon Films list. Michael?
The ninjas always dominate me when they enter me, that's for sure.
What? All right, Michael, let's move on.
So you had Enter the Ninja, the first one. Was it Revenge of the Ninja? Ninja 3, The Domination. Forget the other two. You know, who needs the other two when you have this one? Really, this is the
what
one.
Other two?
Yeah, exactly. This is the one to have, right? This is the movie. This is the movie for me. This is the movie that is pure 80s. You have a ninja who drills himself into a golf course ground at some point, right? Doesn't he do that? Like
he does everything. It's not.
He does it all. It's pretty amazing to watch. It has a telephone pole worker / aerobics instructor / I don't know. She has a lot going on. She's a busy girl. And the idea of like the ninja possessing her is a really fun concept. And that movie really exploits that for all it's worth. I played the TV spot. The TV spot does not sell this movie the way it should. It sells it as a normal ninja movie, right?
There is no normal ninja movie.
Yeah, this is a real. They should just really highlight how 80s this movie is, how like fun it is and silly it is and over the top it is, because that's what it is. It's pure fun entertainment, and turn your brain off for 90 minutes and enjoy this ninja.
You're going to a Canon film, of course your brain's going to be off.
Yeah, exactly. Don't pretend otherwise.
Oh my God. I had Cheetos in bed last night because I wanted a snack, and I just looked at my towel in the bathroom. It's orange, and I'm like, oh, Cheetos. Sorry, that's a quick. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I just was washing my hands. Sorry, everybody.
The Cheeto adventure there last night.
Sorry about that, everybody. Go ahead. There's nothing.
What were you doing last night, John?
Cheetos. I was eating Cheetos because I'm on snacks, and I'm like, I had this little snack bag of Cheetos. I'm like, well, I'll do it. And you know what? I'm going to mix it in. Cheetos and cheesy movies from the 80s.
Do they have? Are they putting you up in a hotel or like a B?
Yeah,
or
the
Airbnb
studio puts me up in a hotel.
Cool.
And it's a remake of Ninja 3, so I'm excited.
We get to see John get entered by
I get entered, and it takes them 4 hours in makeup to put hair on my back. So it's exciting.
If they do a remake of Ninja 3, they definitely need to do that. They need to, probably have to be exactly. I think a lot of the reason why these movies have so over the top elements is because they're not paying attention to like everything. They're filming these movies really quickly. I mean, for example, Lucinda Dickey made this movie in the same year she made Break-In 1 and 2.
Yes, Electric Boogaloo.
3 movies for her. Like, what whiplash I would have had making all 3 of those movies. It's so much fun. It's over the top and glorious, and I can't love. It's like Death Wish 3. It's over the top and fun, and I watched them tons because of that.
There are no bazookas in Ninja 3, by the way.
You don't need them when you have all this.
Lucinda Dickey and Harry back.
Exactly. All right, here is a TV spot for my number 1.
Nobody has more fun than The Last American Virgin.
Me?
It's about hope.
Tonight can really be the big night.
And dreams. The highs and lows.
You're not going to get anything from
the ups and downs of growing up. The Last American Virgin, a comedy about friendship, love, and everything in between. The Last American Virgin. See it or be it. From Canon Releasing.
Now playing at theaters and drive-ins near you.
Of course, it's going to be The Last American Virgin. You know me. I love a good teen movie. They didn't make enough teen movies, actually, in Canada. I'm looking at their, if you look at their filmography, and at the end of this podcast, after the credits, if you will, I'm going to read off a long list of all the Canada movies for you guys.
All right.
I'm not going to bore you with it right now, but later, if you
really, I have to see at some point.
Yeah, if you want a Easter egg, if you will, at the end of this podcast, look for the Easter egg, and you'll hear a list of Canada movies. They didn't do many teen movies. There was like movies like Making the Grade. I remember that one, like a college comedy, but not a lot, unfortunately. So The Last American Virgin, of course, was a remake of Canon's Israeli Lemon Popsicle films. They took the Lemon Popsicle movie and basically remade it almost scene for scene with The Last American Virgin. But what they do is, with this one, because it's set in LA, because it's 1982, it becomes very 80s, it becomes very LA, and then they add a great soundtrack to the movie, and that's what really puts this movie over the top for me. It's got everything I want out of a crazy, wacky sex teen comedy of the time, like Porky's, but then you add some heart to it, and a gut-wrenching ending, and a great soundtrack. And there you have it, The Last American Virgin. This is the movie that I saw back in the day at the Gemini Twin as a double feature with Creepshow. That was quite a day of being scared and traumatized by Creepshow. Because
have you ever seen Creepshow 2, Electric Boogaloo?
Oh, so much fun.
Just
Creepshow 1 gave me my fear. That, along with Halloween 3, gave me my fear of bugs because of certain scenes of bugs in those movies. Thank you, 1982, for traumatizing me. My kinder trauma of bugs stemmed from Creepshow and that movie. Last American Virgin didn't quite traumatize me, but maybe the ending bummed a lot of people out, because it ends, of course, in a complete 180 from what happened previous to the film. It goes in a very serious direction at the end, which is a bold statement by the filmmaker Boaz Davison and okay, go for it. Why not? Initially opened, like, say, was it November 19th, 1982, limited capacity. That's when I saw it, but then it opened wider for audiences in January of 14th of 1983. That's when a lot of people saw it. And I think a lot of people remember the soundtrack. It has a lot of great artists on it. It has, too many to name. I mean, it really, there's like The Sting and Quincy Jones and oh my God, Human League and Lionel Richie and the Commodores, Danny Elfman, Oingo Boingo's on there, The Waitresses, Blondie, Journey, REO Speedwagon, Cars. Oh my God. I have the soundtrack. Get the soundtrack if you don't have the soundtrack. Look it up. It's a lot of fun. It's very of the time. It really brings me back to the early 80s and the early to mid 80s. I rented this movie a lot on and the big clam, those big box MGM type. Remember those with the big boxes?
Oh, yeah.
And then they folded out. I remember buying a big box used at a video store, and I want to say like E8, somewhere around there, and just watching the hell out of it. So I just wanted, it's got plenty of play for me over the years. I even put up the ending on YouTube at some points in the 2000s because it wasn't on there for some reason. I just love it. It's just a lot of fun. It's silly, over the top, but also serious. And I enjoy the Lemon Popsicle movies from which this movie stems. So they're also pretty crazy and very nostalgic. A lot of them are like 50s, 60s nostalgia movies. But I enjoy the heck out of them. And The Last American Virgin, I think it might be out of print currently, which is weird. So it's due for another re-release on Blu-ray. So hopefully that happens. Have you seen it?
I was never a fan. I'm not going to lie.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I need to give it a revisit. I just give me a second. I'm still reeling from Life Force. So when I get done,
you get boobs here too.
What's that?
There's boobs here too.
There is
lots of boobs,
but are there electric boogaloos? I'll have to give it another watch. There's a few on here. I have to get through my Paul Kersey 5-feature day, and then I'll focus on the other titles you mentioned. But I would like to point out, since we have finished our number ones, I want to point out that there are at least 3 or 4 titles I need to be watching just from your choice.
Nice.
Or revisiting just from my choice.
Yeah. I know, I really want to watch Cobra again right now. All right, playing at the time, The Last Unicorn, Slumber Party Massacre, Alone in the Dark, National Lampoon's Class Reunion, Bugs.
Wait, Class Reunion? Oh, those are the movies that opened that year. Class Reunion is on Blu-ray. I love that movie. It's written by John Hughes.
Oh, right, nice. Bugs Bunny's third movie, Concrete Jungle, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Time Bandits, Monsignor, Heidi's Song, E.T., The Burning, Poltergeist, Creepshow, Funeral Home, Empire Strikes Back was re-released that day. Tex, Heartaches, Endangered Species, Diva, Moonlighting, The Missionary, My Favorite Year, Chilly Scenes of Winter, Eating Raoul, Brimstone and Treacle, Still the Night, First Blood, The Groove Tube, Come Back to the Five and Dime, Jimmy Dean, Gregory's Girl, Midsummer Night's Sex Comedy, Cutter's Way, and Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Thanks, Trauma.
Seriously.
I just want a special shout out to King Solomon's Mines, mostly the score.
Yeah,
Really?
the score by Poltergeist. What's his name? Jerry Goldsmith.
Yeah.
Amazing score.
It really like sticks in my head. It never wants to go.
It's amazing.
A lot of fun. All right, guys, that was Canon. We're sticking to our list. Stay tuned at the end of the show for the list of Canon movies. I'll even mention some of the 21st Century Pictures releasing corporation movies. That was when Menahem went on his own after their breakup. All right, cool. This was fun. A lot of movies to rewatch.
And all over, like, I realized doing a podcast at 9 a.m. is, this really makes me, I have to think. It's crazy. At night, I can be a little more loose. Like, I don't know. I felt like it was probably pressure because I was like, I want to talk about this movie, but I don't know where to start. Or I want to talk about this movie, but I can't remember it. But I know I love it. It's crazy. Something's wrong with me.
I mean, that's movies are a funny way. They stay with you for whatever reason. We know they love them. Sometimes we're not sure exactly why. Certainly that's very true with Canon. Like, why do we love these crazy movies that were made to cash in on, whatever fads, or just made on the cheap, or just made to like be rushed out to have a movie in a theater, but we love them. I don't know. They stick with us. It's crazy but true.
Thank you for letting me join you again, Michael. Canon movies, you and I both love them, and I have a Canon T-shirt. I love Canon. I miss it. I miss going to the movies on weekends and seeing Chuck Norris's new movie, or working a matinee for Bloodsport, or just I miss those days of the 80s. And Canon, certainly, you just don't realize. I mean, maybe you do. You look back and go, wow, these films really were a huge part of my childhood growing up.
They really were. And, I hope they do make a comeback in some way. And I feel like the Canon brand is, still worthy of I feel like we need to have these kinds of movies still, instead of just like the really high budgeted movies. We need a variety. And certainly we got that with Canon. So that's what I appreciate most. And take what we can get. I
have an idea.
Yeah.
We should do our own Canon type production company, Michael, you and me, and we'll call it Bazooka.
That over the Lifetop?
Bazooka Films.
Bazooka Films.
And we'll make Death Wish 6. And we'll not with Bruce Willis though.
No.
Because
we're gonna make it with Jon Voight.
Oh, no, we're on that note. Michael, thank you. What a pleasure. And you went over the top.
I had to go over the top at the end. That's true Canon style. We go over the top.
Under the top and below the belt. That's the sequel. Over the top, two below the belt. Electric Boogaloo. Thank you, Michael.
Stay tuned for the montages at the end.
Montage.
Bye, guys. Take care. Ciao for now.
In a lifetime made of memories, I believe in destiny. Every moment returns again in time. When I've got the future on my mind, know that you'll be
Okay, guys, thanks for sticking it out to the very end here. Let's do the canon list. Just to wrap up what our top 10s were. My number 10 was Kinjite. My number 9 was Runaway Train. Number 8, 52 Pickup. 7, Death Warrant. 6, Link. 5, Avenging Force, with a shout out to Midnight Ride. 4, 10 to Midnight. 3, Death Wish 4, The Crackdown. 2, Break-In. And number 1 was The Last American Virgin, with a special shout out to King Solomon's Mines. Jon Donahue's top 10 was number 10, Masters of the New Universe. Number 9, The Delta Force. Number 8, Murphy's Law. Number 7, Death Wish 3. Number 6, Surrender. Number 5, Cobra. Number 4, Bloodsport. Number 3, Life Force. Number 2, Over the Top. And number 1, Ninja 3, The Domination. Here's the Canon Films Canon Group list. The Menahem, Golan, and Yoram Globus era, of course. Alien from LA. Alan Quarterman, The Lost City of Gold. Of course, that was a sequel to King Solomon's Mines. The Ambassador, America 3000, American Cyborg, Steel Warrior, American Kickboxer, American Ninja 2, American Ninja 3, Blood Hunt, American Ninja 4, The Annihilation, American Ninja 5, American Samurai, The Apple, Appointment with Death, Assassination, The Assisi Underground, Baby Love, The Barbarians, Barfly, Beauty and the Beast, Body and Soul, Bolero, The Borrower, Break Into Electric Boogaloo, Business as Usual, Kimura, Castaway, Chain of Command, Cheerleaders Beach Party, Cherry Hill High, The Company of Wolves, A Cry in the Dark, Cyborg, Dancers, Dangerously Close, Death Wish 2, Deja Vu, Delta Force 2, The Colombian Connection, Delta Force 3, The Killing Game, Detective School Dropouts, Doing Time on Planet Earth, Down Twisted, Dr. Heckle and Mr. Hype, Duet for One, Dutch Treat, The Emperor's New Clothes, Enter the Ninja, Field of Honor, 50-50, The Final Executioner, Firewalker, Fool for Love, The Fourth War, The Frog Prince, Gas Pump Girls, The Godsend, Going Bananas, Going Steady, Gore, Gore 2, Grace Quigley, The Hanoi Hilton, Hansel and Gretel, The Happy Hooker Trilogy, Hard Rock Zombies, Haunted Summer, Heat, Hero and the Terror, Hell Squad, Hellbound, which was the last canon film released, Hercules, The Adventures of Hercules 2, The Hitman, Hospital Massacre, aka X-Ray, Hot Bubblegum, Hot Chili, Hot Resort, Hot T-shirts, so much hot, House of the Long Shadows, The Human Shield, I'm Almost Not Crazy, John Cassavetes, Invaders from Mars, Invasion USA, Journey to the Center of the Earth, Keaton's Cop, Kickboxer, King Lear, The Kitchen Toto, Lady Chatterley's Lover, Lambada, Lemon Popsicle, Lightning, The White Stallion, Love Streams, The Lover, The Magician of Lublin, Making the Grade, A Man Called Sarge, Manifesto, Maria's Lovers, Matahari, Messenger of Death, Missing in Action 2 at the beginning, Braddock, Missing in Action 3, The Naked Cage, The Naked Face, Night Terrors, No Place to Hide, Number One with a Bullet, One More Chance, Operation Thunderbolt, Ordeal by Innocence, Otello, Over the Brooklyn Bridge, Penitentiary 3, Pirates, Platoon Leader, Power Scotzi, Private's Popsicle, Puss in Boots, Rappin', Red Riding Hood, Rescue Me, Revenge of the Ninja, River of Death, Rockula, The Rose Garden, Rumpelstiltskin, Sahara, Salome, Salsa, Savage Weekend, Schizoid, The Seven Magnificent Gladiators, Shy People, Sinbad the Seven Seas, Sleeping Beauty, Snow White, Street Night, Street Smart, Summertime Blues, Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, The Sword of the Barbarians, Sword of the Valiant, 10 Little Indians, Terminal Bliss, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, That Championship Season, Three Kinds of Heat, To the Death, American Kickboxer 2, Tough Guys Don't Dance, Treasure of the Four Crowns, Undercover, Up Your Anchor, The Violent Breed, The Wicked Lady, Young Love, and Young Warriors. Now, as a little bonus, we'll do 21st Century Pictures Corporation. Of course, that was Menahem Golan's going out alone after his breakup with Urim Globus. So he formed his own company, and he had a handful of films, which would include Cage Fury, Mac the Knife, The Phantom of the Opera, Edgar Allan Poe's Mask of the Red Death, The Forbidden Dance, which of course was released in the same day as Lambada, Edgar Allan Poe's Buried Alive, Night of the Living Dead, the remake by Tom Savini, Bullseye, Captain America, Virgin High, The Finest Hour, Dance Macabre, Desert Kickboxer, Teenage Body and Klepto Clyde, and lastly, Death Wish 5. Quite a list, Canon. Thank you for listening, and thank you for enjoying Canon films. Look out for our Patreon, which is coming soon. That will be on Chuck Norris movies. Don't fuck with Chuck. Thank you, guys. Take care. Ciao for now.